Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and yes, we are back for another live show, and I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves, so I guess we'll start with Joe from Agree to Disagree, so we can all introduce each other, and then Chris, and then Rob. So, go on.
Hello everyone, I am Joe from Agree to Disagree, where we do movies, TV, sports, you name it, we do it pretty much, and I'm not the only agreeer to disagree here. We also have Chris, so I'll let him kind of take over.
And I'm going to let you hear themselves.
My name is Chris. I'm from Agree to Disagree also. There was a weird echo going on. Yeah, I'm with Joe. I do agree to disagree. You know, movies.
I thought it was mine. That's why I'm like, oh no, mine's muted. Because sometimes when it goes,
yeah. We know movies, TV. I do the music. Hopefully, Broadway concert reviews this summer. So look forward to that. But yeah, so I'm excited to be part of this. Yeah. So now, last but not least, we have Rob from EntertainmentTalkNation. So Rob, take it away.
Hey guys, this is Rob from ETN. Glad to be here to talk some superhero stuff with these great YouTubers. Sorry about that. That was my computer that was doing that.
Oh, it's cool. No, it's happened to me tons of times. That's why I'm like, is that me or is that someone else?
Ah.
All right, and that's it. This is Rob.
Cool. Chris is actually using his phone, so if he goes on and off, it's because of that. So he just went off, but he'll come on again.
Hey, sorry guys. I'm on my phone, so if it disconnects, it's because I lost Wi-Fi connection. So just bear with me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So today we're gonna be talking Marvel movies. Again with Rob, Chris, and Joe, myself, and there's a lot of Marvel movies that came out already. We had Captain America, Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men. We're going to talk about some Marvel news that came out, like the Ant-Man stuff. Maybe we'll talk about that first, I guess. And then we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy and what other questions you have. You could ask Batman, Superman. You could ask anything about superhero movies, and we'll answer it. So please add your comments, because in the middle we'll answer questions. So let's talk about Ant-Man. What's going on with this director thing? We had Edgar Wright, who was going to be director. He dropped off. And then someone else is going to be director, dropped off. What's going on with this movie? Whoever wants to start can start about this.
I want to take this one. I want to start.
I guess since I started Joe first.
Joe's first. Damn it.
All right. You go, Chris.
Wait, who, me or Joe?
No, I was going to say.
You have a lot to say about this one.
Whoever wants to go first.
All right, I'll go first. So, a couple things. First, I love Edgar Wright, and I was really excited when I found out he was connected to the project, and then he dropped off, and I got really upset because I was really looking forward to it, because he's been working on this for years. There's a few years that he's kind of been connected to it and, like, you know, putting it together. Then, you know, the casting came out, and Edgar Wright was still connected to it, and then all of a sudden, Edgar Wright drops out, and then today we find out Adam McKay, who was the director of Anchorman 2, he was reportedly connected to it, and then all of a sudden he dropped all on the same day. So it's kind of crazy kind of seeing that. We don't know who's in talks. I know the director of Where the Millers was possibly in the talks, but I'm not sure if he's still in the mix or not. There hasn't really been much since Adam McKay this afternoon. What's up?
That's interesting. Where the Millers director? That's I like that one probably the best.
I agree. It's just kind of weird that people are dropping off like flies in an Ant-Man movie. It's very weird.
I mean, based on the directors, it looks like they're going the comical route, which is kind of the way you got to go with Ant-Man, because it's not an incredibly serious, you know, story. You know what I mean?
None of the Marvel movies are. They're all like very lighthearted.
Especially Marvel. Like, if this was a DC movie, I would say differently. But when Chris comes back, he could explain about that. But Rob, what do you think about this whole director thing?
You know, I heard of it. I don't know all, obviously, well, I guess a lot of people don't know all the details, but, you know, it's one thing, you know, I consider Ant-Man to be a second-tier superhero.
Yeah,
so
he definitely is.
I think it's already a delicate situation to kind of try and sell this. Not that it wouldn't succeed, but now with having directorial issues, I don't think that helps the movie anymore. So I think it could possibly do some damage to it, because not so many of the general public knows Ant-Man too much. And when you consider that that's what the movies, the directors and the studios usually aim for, the general audience, because that's the masses. Now you have a movie that doesn't have a director right now. It's already had 2 directors drop out. Not a big no name when you compare it to like the Spider-Mans and Batmans of the world. So, I don't know if they'll scratch the movie, because I think it's in the phase plan, but
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't delay anything.
Knowing Marvel, they're not going to scratch it, but
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the star power in this movie with Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas, I think, is enough to kind of drive it to get people to go see it, because people love Paul Rudd. Michael Douglas is a great actor. So, I mean, I could kind of see, people going for the star power alone, and I guess they're looking for kind of a named director that has, recent movies under their belt. Edgar Wright had the trilogy with Shaun of the Dead and, the At World's End, Hot Fuzz. Then Adam McKay was big with Anchorman, so obviously, like, that's kind of why they're going for them. They're hot directors. Like, they've had big movies in the last, I'd say, 5 years or so.
I think it was they're trying to do the Whedon thing. Whedon's such a big director, no name for these type of things. They're trying to go with director, which is great because you need a good vision with these movies. But it's sad because, again, we've already went through 2 directors, and who's going to be next? I don't know.
Yeah, and 2 directors that I absolutely love, and I would have been so happy with either of them doing it at the helm. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. I don't know what route they're going to take, especially because of, I guess, the style of movie they're looking for, because obviously looking to make it comical, considering, the directors that are there are known for their comedies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see where they go from here. Definitely something to look out for, because if they still want to make that 2015 release date, they got to, get a director, I'd say, within the next month or so, because they got to start production in, September. So they kind of want to get the director on board and kind of get everything in place before they start, production this summer.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. They really need to get a director. But going down the line, we'll start with Rob. Who would you want to direct this movie, since Edgar Wright and I don't even remember the other director who was going to do it? Yeah.
Ant-Man, and it's going to be like a little bit more, well, a lot of their movies are lighthearted over at Disney with the Marvel movies. Oh, God. You know what? I really wouldn't know anyone who, I know this may sound horrible to some people, but I really don't know anyone who probably couldn't do this movie. I mean, I'm being honest. I mean, it's Ant-Man. I'm not like I'm gonna see it, but I'm not like Ant-Man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not running to. So I just I don't know. You got me on that one. I really couldn't see anyone who couldn't do it. Gareth Edwards. How's that?
There we go.
Gareth Edwards. Go Godzilla.
We won't see Ant-Man until the last 15
Hey,
minutes.
Godzilla's a Marvel character. Why not? It's tough. Why not give it to a young director up and coming? I mean, I say Gareth Edwards joking, but why not give it to somebody who's maybe doesn't have the top-notch experience, but someone you can, because obviously Disney seems to want to mold this in some way. If you want to get somebody in here that you can mold, we'll just get a young and up-and-coming director to get the movie done. I mean, that's how I see it. So,
I mean, I'll take it next since I'm kind of like going on right now. I think that if they really have that much of an issue, I'd say either like someone like James Gunn or Joss Whedon could just take it, because I feel like they'll take it in the right direction. I feel like Joss Whedon could possibly stand up. I mean, granted, they are doing Avengers 2, which is a little rough.
Right, but scheduling-wise.
If they were to, say, push back Ant-Man a little bit, maybe Joss Whedon could take it, because, they want him involved in all the movies. James Gunn just wrapped up. I mean, he's just wrapped up or is wrapping up, Guardians of the Galaxy, which looks like it has a great tone to it, and I could kind of see that tone carrying over to Ant-Man. So I could see maybe like James Gunn maybe taking on another Marvel movie once Guardians is done. All I say again, it might have to move back a little bit just to get a director on board if they can't do it soon. I mean, go with someone you trust and someone you know, because it's going to be a tough one to sell, because it's not a big superhero. Like everyone knew Captain America, everyone knew who Iron Man was, like all the Avengers, like everyone knew who they were. So it's like it wasn't hard to kind of move those along. Or even Jon Favreau, have him come back and direct a Marvel movie and do Ant-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, definitely. Joe, what do you think, director-wise? For me, I don't even know which director I would pick. I mean, Whedon's doing Avengers, so I wouldn't even know where to start with that. But Joe?
I like Rob's idea of give it to a young guy. Gareth Edwards is a nice idea, but I don't think he definitely wouldn't have the time. Yeah, he's doing Star Wars.
That's Rob's Godzilla fanboy coming out right now.
Yeah, believe me, I would like that, but yeah, just give it to some young guy. I mean, Chris had mentioned that there's apparently a rumor about the We're the Millers director. I'd be for that. I'd like that. It seems like they're going for comedy directors, so if we're looking at recent comedy movies, then sure, do We're the Millers. I mean, just like I'm with Rob, I don't care that much about this movie when it comes to Marvel movies. This is very, very towards the bottom of my list, so I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I mean, for me, for Ant-Man, I'm excited for Ant-Man. I don't know why. Like, I'm not even a big Ant-Man fan in the comic books, but I just have a weird feeling it could be good, especially since we're having two different Ant-Man in one movie. Could we have Wasp for the people who know the comics? I think it could be really interesting. But yeah, going on to the next Marvel news, we have Thanos, who has been casted as Josh Brolin. What do you guys think? I don't really know if I have thoughts on it. What do you guys think? Joe, we'll start with you.
Yeah, okay, good, because I had a question. Is he confirmed? I know he's confirmed.
Yes.
Is he confirmed?
He's confirmed. He's confirmed.
Okay, but for a voiceover type role, is he going to be CGI and Josh Brolin will be voicing him? Or
I don't know if they said anything.
I believe it's going to be CGI, I think in the vein of kind of how the Hulk was in Avengers.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of that's what I read earlier. So maybe he'll do some kind of mocap stuff with it, like, you know, how Mark Ruffalo did for the Hulk. But it's going to be voiceover. It's not going to be makeup. You know, it's not going to be him on screen. It's going to be a CGI character with him voicing it at least.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I've been saying for a while now that Josh Brolin, I feel like, is the perfect fit for these Marvel movies. So I was waiting for him to kind of get a superhero type movie. And Jonah Hex doesn't count.
Yeah, Jonah Hex doesn't even count as anything because that movie was not good with that Megan Fox. You could just nothing with Megan Fox.
So
that's all
yeah,
I have to say about both of those.
I'm all for it. I like Brolin, Josh Brolin. So.
How about you, Chris? What do you think?
I think Josh Brolin has kind of been dealt like a kind of a shitty hand whenever it came to like comic book movies, especially with Jonah Hex. I mean, if you saw Men in Black 3, I thought he was amazing in that.
I have to still see it. It's on my list.
he was great in Men in Black 3.
Yes, he was.
I think he's a great actor. When he was rumored to possibly be playing Batman, I was kind of pulling for that a little bit because I think I love Josh Brolin. I really want to see him, you know, get a big role where like people will say, "Oh man, Josh Brolin's amazing." You know what I mean? Like I feel as though he's kind of had like little roles, and like I think Thanos is great for him considering it's, you know, it's going to be over the Marvel universe. You know, he's going to be all over the place. It's going to be in Guardians, Avengers 2, Avengers 3, like all over the place. He's going to have a hand in everything. And I love Josh Brolin. I'm really going to looking forward to him being in, you know, these Marvel movies because he's a great actor to add to the ensemble.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him in all these other movies. What do you think, Rob? Are you excited for this casting?
Oh yeah, I love Josh Brolin, man. I remember Josh Brolin, and I'm going to show my age here. I remember Josh Brolin in The Goonies. Okay?
Oh my God, I forgot he was in that.
Old school, The Goonies. Josh Brolin played Mikey's older brother.
I love the
Remember him in No Country for Old Men a couple of years back.
Yes, yes.
I mean, he's a fantastic actor. He's been doing this for years. I think they made a good choice here. And it doesn't matter if you're not going to actually, you know, like Chris was talking about the whole CGI and motion capture, you know, that'll still give him an opportunity to bring the character to life in his likeness. Plus, he's got a nice, you know, like he's got a good voice for it. So I'm sure they'll digitize that a little bit. But I'm cool with this, man. I think this is a solid. Plus, he's got that lockjaw. You know, look at Thanos in the he's got the jaw for Thanos. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but you look at Thanos, and Thanos got that big lockjaw. Josh Brolin has that lockjaw.
That's the first thing I saw. I'm like, the jaw, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's perfect. I think he's a perfect fit for Thanos.
When you were saying he's got I was hoping you were going to say he's got the jaw for it. But yeah, he's got that jaw.
I can see him now, like in the comic pictures where you see Thanos holding the gauntlet with his jaw. This is awesome. I would like to. I'm serious, man. That'd be so great.
I really hope that's one of like the promotional images that they release in like Entertainment Weekly or something of him like with the Infinity Gauntlet, just like him with the Infinity Gauntlet, not even Thanos, just him with the Infinity Gauntlet. That would be great.
I hope this happens because I would love to see that. So let's get into some questions, guys. Ask us questions. We're gonna do it between different topics. We'll answer some questions. So first question is, if Marvel could get a single character back from Fox or Sony, who would you want it to be? So we'll start with Chris.
Spider-Man.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
So it seems like Chris and Joe both agree Spider-Man. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
Anthony Garfield Spider-Man.
I mean, Spider-Man would be the obvious choice, but I mean, I got to go with Wolverine, man. I'm a huge X-Men fan. I love Wolverine. But the thing of it is, you could fit either one of those characters into anything Marvel, Disney's doing right now with Marvel. They both have collaborated with the Avengers before. They both have had their own series, but I don't think you can go wrong either way, to be honest.
And even Galactus would be cool, but you can't have Galactus without the Fantastic Four. So I mean,
sure, I honestly didn't even think about that. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. Like a villain, like someone like Galactus would be cool for like the Avengers can go after Galactus.
Oh yeah. Somebody take the Fantastic Four away from Fox.
So that would be too much. But I agree with you. I think Wolverine would be great because, as you said, he's collaborated with the Avengers. Spider-Man's collaborated with the Avengers. So I think that either one would be great crossover. And I know that Hugh Jackman has said that he wants to do like something.
He'll go out of retirement. If he's actually in retirement, we don't know.
He'll come out of retirement for a Wolverine Avengers movie if he were to go retire, man. But I think Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or Wolverine, like those two, like are hands down, like easily the two choices.
The only thing is, I say Spider-Man because Wolverine is part of the X-Men. When you think of Wolverine, you think of X-Men, and Fox is doing a good job with X-Men. I think X-Men: Days of Future Past just came out, and that was, I thought, the best X-Men movie yet. They're doing a good job. The Spider-Man movies, Sony isn't doing that good.
Oh, we will definitely talk about the Spider-Man movies.
Sony needs, to be punished. They need to get that taken away from them.
Oh, I have my piece about Sony that I'll talk about when we talk about
Sony. So nothing. I love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I think that's terrific casting. It's just Sony in charge of the Spider-Man name and the franchise. I think it's trouble. So I definitely would want Spider-Man.
But not as bad trouble as Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four is also in trouble.
I don't let this go because, again, I'm a little older, and one of my favorite series from the comics when I was young was a series called the Inferno series, and it kind of crossed over many different factions: the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. Man, when I saw the Fantastic Four movie and Galactus was a huge purple fart cloud, I couldn't believe it. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I said to myself, these guys, because Galactus is not that hard to do. I can understand Michael Bay not doing the whole Unicron thing, and I know that's a whole separate ball of wax. But Galactus, I thought was possible. And when he came to Earth and he was a big purple cloud, man, oh, what a disappointment that was. So yeah, that's another faction I would love to see move over back to Marvel. They need. I mean, we still have another one coming, and maybe they'll improve that. Hopefully, maybe X-Men Days of Future Past is a taste of things to come with Fantastic Four. But up until I see that, man, Fantastic Four needs to move back to Marvel big time.
Yeah, I have to agree with all of you because, first of all, I would like to see Wolverine just because I feel like he would be better for an Avenger movie. Like Spider-Man, I think Andrew Garfield's a little bit too young to play the Spider-Man of the Avengers, so I think Hugh Jackman has a better side to be in an Avenger movie, which is probably why they would want to buy the rights in the first place. But I think Fantastic Four would be better to get a solo, or not really, a solo movie because I think Marvel could handle the Fantastic Four better, because I don't know what direction they're going to go with this new one. Seems like, as a comic book reader, it seems like they're going the ultimate route, which is younger people. They're obviously still scientists, but it's a whole different route. Reed Richards goes evil. I think they're going that route, so it's going to be weird.
Not good.
Yeah, I want to say something about that. I mean, I think that, like, what's it called? Spider-Man kind of went the ultimate route as well, so I can kind of almost see, like, a crossover Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, like, maybe, like, what's the newest Fantastic Four had Spider-Man in it.
Hi.
Well, one of my friends just said hi because I'm outside right now.
But the newest Fantastic Four.
I know that, what's it called? The newest Fantastic Four comics had Spider-Man in them. You know, Johnny Torch dies in the comics. Johnny Storm, Human Torch, I just come out as two names. He dies in the comics, and Spider-Man takes his place.
He does, for a little while. He does do that for Fantastic Four.
I mean, if both of them go the ultimate route, it would be very interesting to possibly see a crossover of those two.
A Future Foundation, right?
Yeah, the Future Four, something like that.
Yeah, it's a Future Foundation, FF.
Future Foundation. I think that would be interesting. Just if they both go the ultimate route, that could potentially be, you know, something they do. But I think it's Fox that owns Fantastic Four, right? It's not Sony.
Yes.
So, I mean, considering the Amazing Spider-Man 2 after credit scene was a you know, X-Men scene, it's a possibility. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. As a comic book fan, it's interesting to see them take different universes, because I guess, you know, the original Fantastic Four didn't work for them, so they're going the ultimate route, which I think, you know, mainstream audiences won't know that Reed Richards goes evil, or that's really the biggest thing I think that happens in the Ultimate Universe. So
it differentiates the two, like, movie series, you know, the Ultimate Spider-Man versus regular Spider-Man. So the Amazing Spider-Man series as opposed to, you know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, which I thought was, like, almost flawless except for Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 1 and 2 were fantastic, and Spider-Man 3 just shit the bed. But it really differentiates the series to showing that they're taking. I mean, time will tell. I'm not the biggest fan of rebooting a series not even like 10 years after the first one comes out.
Yeah. But Sony needed to do it, or else Marvel would have taken the rights.
Yeah, that's the only reason we got Amazing Spider-Man, because they didn't make Spider-Man 4 like, oh shit, we don't want to lose the rights. Let's just reboot Spider-Man. It's the Amazing Spider-Man. We're going to basically follow the Ultimate storyline. However, I do enjoy Andrew Garfield, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, at least we got something good about it. But we will definitely, when we talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2, we'll talk more about that. Any other thoughts on that topic, or we'll move to the next question?
Unless anyone wants to say anything else. Before we get to the next question, I want to just point out one of the comments. It's not a question, it's a comment I thought was funny bringing up. Tyler Perry needs his hands on Ant-Man. What do you guys think about that?
Medea becomes Ant-Man. That would be pretty funny.
There we go.
That would just be the worst thing to ever happen.
They would troll America.
Because every Tyler Perry movie should never have been made.
Okay. Chris, Temptation? Come on.
Any Tyler Perry movie shouldn't have been made. We all could.
He's got a couple good ones.
The world would have been better with no Medea movies.
I totally agree with you. I'm not a big Tyler Perry fan. But yeah, that was a funny comment. Keep them coming.
In that case, they might as well just make Medea the Wasp.
Ooh, now you're on to something.
Shut up, Joe.
How are you doing, Ant-Man?
I know where you live, Joe. I'm going to kill you.
Cool. All right, so next question is, talk about Marvel trying to snub Fox on the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, so this has been in the news that Marvel wants to cancel Fantastic Four, the series, the comic book series, and the FF series because they want the rights back, and they're just trying to snub them because if there's no comic book series, people will forget about Fantastic Four. So as many non-comic book readers, I'll start with Rob. What do you think about this? I mean, I guess it's smart on Marvel's part, but kind of in a snubbing way, it's kind of evil. What do you think?
I'm all for it, evil. It's my shit. I don't want you to have it. All is fair in love and war.
I agree.
If they can do it, hey, listen. You heard what I just said about Fantastic Four. If I was Marvel, after seeing what they did the first time, I'd snub them hard, without lube. Just saying.
Let me say something. They might say it, in hopes of people forgetting about Fantastic Four, but with a movie, people go see movies all the time, not caring what the subject matter is. Like, no one really knew who the Watchmen were, and yet a lot of people went and saw Watchmen.
And
Because of the hype.
Yeah, like, you can hype it up to the point where no one's going to care if it has source material or not. So whether Marvel tries to, snub them or not, people are going to see this movie. People who know about the originals will go see it. People who, most people have friends who know comics. It's based on a comic. Like, they don't make the comic anymore. That might make more people go see it just for the fact that of this news, like, they're canceling the Fantastic Four comics. You know what I mean? Like, even non-comic book readers will know that they're canceling the comics because of the movie.
I don't know. I mean, the first two didn't do that great. I can't see why canceling the comic. What happened?
Especially the second one. Like, the first one did okay, but the second one did really bad.
Yeah, I think announcing the comic being canceled could probably be more of a detriment than a positive, because people remember that the first two were let's be real. The first two stunk on ice. Okay, they're gonna remember that. Then they're gonna remember. Then you announce the cancellation. Then you make a movie. People are gonna be like, all right, well, something's got to be going on here. If the first two weren't that great and they're canceling the comic, what's the point of going to see the movie? That would be my counter thought to that.
How I look at it is that if there's a story, people will go see it. If there's like a big story, like a big controversy behind it, people will go see it to see what the controversy is.
But I don't know if a cancellation of a comic is big enough, because for us, comic book community, it's big enough. But I don't think people are gonna really listen and be like, "Oh, the comic book got canceled. Oh well."
Exactly. Non-comic book readers, I mean, I know comics. Don't say I don't read them, but I know them. You know what I mean? I know what's a comic. I know what's not. I know the comic storylines. I've read enough of information to know the comic storylines. That's how I know the Ultimate storylines are coming into play. That's how I know that Days of Future Past was changed in certain ways. But I mean, it wouldn't affect me because I already know who they are. I feel like most people kind of almost know, because I mean, Islands of Adventure down in Universal, there's a Fantastic Four ride. Oh, cool, they're a superhero. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like there's enough out there to the point where canceling the comic isn't detrimental, because I feel like a lot of moviegoers are just moviegoers. They go to see the big movie of the weekend, and if it's critically not terrible, people will go see it.
What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, everything Chris just said, I pretty much agree with. I'm just pretty much against the new Fantastic Four in general. I don't know. The casting pretty much has done it for me, so I have no interest.
I'm going inside, so let's see what happens.
I'm going to give a little faith to the movie. I don't know, because I mean, I like the Ultimate version, but I like the family aspect of the actual Fantastic Four, and you're not going to get that in this new one. It's not going to be about family, so it's going to be more about these people that got powers. And I never, what is the Fantastic Four is that they're the first family of Marvel, so if they're going to take that away, I think that's really weird. I don't know. We'll have to see. Cool. So we're going to go on to the next question. We're going to answer a couple more, keep the questions going, but then we're going to move on to the first movie, probably Captain America. So could there ever be a Spider-Man X-Men movie? P.S. I'm slightly intoxicated. Thank you for telling us that. But I guess I'll start with Joe. We'll start. Do you think there'll ever be a crossover? Personally, I don't think so. But
between Sony and Fox?
Yeah.
As of right now, no. But since we saw X-Men at the end of Spider-Man, we know they're at least open to working together. They're not completely opposed to the idea. We've seen that done at the end of Spider-Man. So maybe, I think there's a better chance between those two kind of working it out and agreeing on something, as opposed to one of them working with Marvel. I think Marvel's kind of in a league of its own, and these two guys are, I'm calling them guys, these two studios are smaller in these kind of, in this realm. So I think they're more inclined to work together. So yeah, I could see it happening.
Okay, cool. Since Chris is still muted, I'm going to go to Rob. What do you think? Do you think Spider-Man X-Men will happen?
Yeah, eventually. These things, they always find a way to just happen at some point or another. Honestly, linking it back to what we were discussing before, if Marvel does snub the Fantastic Four from Sony, I think you better chance of seeing it, because at some point you're gonna need something to compete with the Avengers. Right now, a lot of people don't seem to have too much faith in Justice League. We have to wait and see how that plays out. But I mean, the general consensus doesn't seem to be very liking towards the casting of the new Superman movie and the kind of hinting at who's going to be playing what characters. Yeah, but I think eventually you will. One way or another, whether it's the two studio... Look, it comes down to money. If they're going to make money and they can split it 50-50 and work out all the smaller details on paper, yeah, I think it can happen.
It could be a big movie for them if they do. But, yeah, Chris, what do you think?
I think that we'll see a crossover with the Avengers before we see a crossover with anything else.
Mm-hmm. Agree, because, again, we've seen it before. All right, cool. So next question is, what other Marvel character would you like to see to jump onto the big screen? So let's start with Chris. We're gonna see.
The ones I like are already in gestation with Black Panther and stuff like that. If I had to pick one, it's kind of hard to pick one at this point because there's so many that are kind of in the pipe, kind of being discussed and stuff like that. If I had to pick one, it would probably... Well, I mean, can I just say one that I'd like to see get a solo movie instead of...
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'd love to see, characters like Mystique, who kind of have, bigger parts in the X-Men movies, kind of get their own movie.
So would Jennifer Lawrence Mystique, or the one who played Mystique in,
or Rebecca Romaine? I mean, I love Jennifer Lawrence, so I'm not going to... discount her. But what would be cool is kind of branching out the X-Men, kind of getting a Quicksilver, Black Widow, either Marvel Universe or the X-Men Universe versions of either of them, kind of getting their own thing, kind of getting more about themselves. You know what I mean? Because I thought Quicksilver was one of the best parts of Days of Future Past. And we don't know how he's going to be in Avengers yet, but I think that if Fox could jump on it before Marvel does, that would be pretty cool.
Okay, so...
Because I think Evan Peters was perfect, and I'd love to see him in a bigger role than just kind of the little role that he had in Days of Future Past. So either Mystique or Quicksilver.
So that would be more the Fox route,
yeah,
so less in the
Marvel. Fox area. Yeah, not so... because they're all Marvel in a way, but not Marvel Universe. But in the ones in gestation, I'd say Black Panther.
Yeah, because we don't know if we're going to see Black Panther. It's definitely been rumored for a while. What do you think, Rob? Who would you like to see that we haven't seen yet? Or it could be something that's been rumored also.
Couple. I don't even know if some of you guys would. Well, probably you, Kat. But Moon Knight, I think, is one. Moon
Knight would be interesting. I just don't know money-wise if that would be.
Cloak and Dagger. I would love to see them.
I heard that was going to be a TV show, but then it didn't happen.
And one character there's two things I would like to see that we probably never will see. One, I would love to see a reboot of Ghost Rider. I love Ghost Rider so much, and that's just one of my favorite characters. And I would also like to see the other version of the Fantastic Four with Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Luke Cage, and who was the other member? The new Fantastic Four. I can't remember who the fourth character was, but something crazy like that would be cool.
Which was the fourth character you were trying to question? For which one?
The new Fantastic Four that had Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Luke Cage, and there was one more, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Hulk, but I don't think it was the Hulk. I think it was somebody else. But something like that, something crazy like that would be so cool. But again, the whole studio thing and where the characters are. But those are some B characters that I liked when I was reading comics growing up. Cloak and Dagger, Moonlight, those were really cool. Wonder Man was cool. So there was another one that I don't think lasted too long, but it was called Darkhawk. That was another cool one.
Yeah, I think he's coming. He was in New Warriors and stuff, so he's more in the team stuff.
Yeah. So, but I mean, those are some lower tier characters that I wouldn't mind seeing on screens. But that's the
one more thing before my phone ran a little low, so I don't get my pardon. I think that Doctor Strange. I mean, he's been talked about. He was alluded to
Johnny
in Captain
Depp.
America too.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
He would be great. But Doctor Strange would be pretty awesome.
How about you, Joe?
Just throwing that out there.
Well, the question was Marvel characters, but I'm very vocal about the fact that I'm a DC fan. I know more about the DC characters and everything. I'm completely biased towards the DC characters, except I do like the Marvel movies better.
Which is a shame. It's like you want better for DC.
Yeah, I want DC to win, just they have Zack Snyder. I would want Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter was always my favorite as a kid. So just from that aspect alone, I just love to see. It would be my childhood dream kind of come true a little bit to see Martian Manhunter on the big screen.
Yeah, and I think he'd be so dynamic because it's a character we really haven't seen on the big screen. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But it's only a matter of time.
For me, I would say Captain Marvel. What, Chris?
I said it's only a matter of time before Martian Manhunter gets announced for Batman vs Superman. Let's be honest.
Hopefully, yeah, right?
But who will play him is the big question.
It'll probably be CGI, too.
Yeah. But who would be the voiceover then? But yeah, for me, I would say Miss
Marvel.
Marvel.
Virus at this rate.
For me, I have to say Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, because we need some female characters. We do, and we haven't gotten any really female superheroes in the lead besides Black Widow. But is she really that much of a strong lead? I don't know. But yeah, I think Carol Danvers would make a really, really good movie. It has an interesting origin. We need to see her. Spider-Girl, of course, but that's never going to happen.
Even Spider-Girl.
Spider-Girl, come on, guys. We need to make the movie.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
But yeah, so let's do that we're going to hold for the questions. We're going to answer more questions. It's just going to be on the side. We're going to get to our first movie. We're going to talk about Captain America since we kind of got into it with Black Widow. I'm going to start with Joe. What do you think about Captain America? And then we'll talk.
Loved it. Thought it was a very good take. I thought Captain America 1 was kind of boring, so I was very pleased with Captain America 2. I thought they knew what direction they wanted to go in, and they handled it perfectly. The kind of spy type movie, more than really a superhero. I thought it was a great, even as a solo movie, even if you're not throwing it in all these Avengers movies, just alone, I think it was a great movie.
All right, so how about you, Chris? What did you think? Oh, also, Joe, what was your rating for Captain America 2?
What, out of 10? I don't usually do ratings. I always find myself contradicting myself.
Okay, how about you, Chris, then?
I thought it was amazing, and unlike Captain America 1 was one of my top movies of Phase 1. I'd say it's just below or on par with Iron Man 1 with my Phase 1 movies. But Captain America 2 absolutely blew everything out of the water. I thought that it was very well done. Just as a standalone movie, it was great. It's just about on par with Avengers with how well done it was. The Winter Soldier was something that I was worried that they'd handle it poorly, and they handled it perfectly. Especially in like the after credit scene, which kind of sets up, him taking on the spoiler alert. If you don't want spoilers of Captain America, then just the comics in general.
You probably shouldn't be watching this podcast, but.
But the last extra credit scene kind of alludes to Bucky kind of coming back to the good side, and which in the comics he eventually takes over for Captain America. So that is something they could possibly be setting up.
And I think Chris Evans wants to do directing, so I think they're going that route anyways.
Yeah.
I think Chris Evans
signed off for 9 movies.
I think that would be great. Just because it would really be a shake-up in the universe, because the Marvel universe as a whole hasn't had huge shake-ups. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much stuck to the comics. And movie-wise, like, it's kind of been, typical movies. Like, they do what you want them to do, except for Iron Man 3, which I'm not going to talk about right now. But I think that, it really set up, kind of Bucky taking over, which would be great, because it's true to the comics.
Do you want to give a rating, Chris, or you like Joe that?
I give it a 10 out of 10. I thought it was flawless.
Oh, wow.
Now, what did you think, Rob? Did you like it?
I loved it. I like the first one, but I kind of agree with Joe. It's very slow paced. Like, for when you compare it to like the Iron Man and Thor movies, obviously not as much action, but I thought it did a good job telling the story of the character.
Yeah,
Rogers, and I think that's what the point was. But the second one just, I mean, leaps and bounds above the first one. And even to some extent better than the Thor movie and better than some of the Iron Man movies, with the exception of the first one. Which I thought was needed for Cap. Because one thing I got to say about the Avengers, he's so, like, underpowered compared to his comrades and compared to his people that it's like he needed this movie to really showcase what he's about, which is a good leader, very, very good at strategizing and infiltrating and just, you know, coming up with a game plan, where the rest of the Avengers really, maybe with the exception of Thor, not really good at that kind of stuff. So I'm glad he got this movie because I think it really spotlighted something about the character that you didn't get that in the Avengers like you did with some of the other characters. At least that's my opinion.
So what would you rate it, Rob?
I like 8.5 out of 10, definitely.
I am going to contradict people because I didn't hate the movie at all, but I didn't love it as much as everybody did.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a big Captain America fan at all. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I like the movie version. I just never got into the character. And there were times where I felt like Winter Soldier and Captain America had that, like, cliche things like, oh, I need to help you, like, towards the end. So, like, that was a little cliche for me. But I liked it, and I would say that something that pushed it to a 4-star for me was actually Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., how they played off it. They did a wonderful job with that, and that show became better because of Captain America 2, and you saw how S.H.I.E.L.D. Really was impacted after Hydra. I think that was the most interesting part of the movie. Again, that's just a perspective of someone that just never really liked Captain America that much, so I thought it was a solid movie, but it actually was not my favorite Marvel movie that came out this year, and I did like Iron Man a little bit better, but it's better than the Thor movies. It definitely was, and it's definitely better than the first movie, because the first movie was a little bit of a slow pace because it played back to where Captain America first started and not really in the Marvel universe. So, but it was a strong movie for Captain America, but for me, not being a humongous Captain America fan, I didn't love it as much as everyone else did.
I could see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So, any plot points you guys want to talk about with Captain America that stuck out to you?
My biggest plot point would be the Winter Soldier after credit scene with Bucky. That would probably be the biggest plot point for me. Like from a comic book standpoint.
Oh, definitely.
Because, you know, it sets up, you know, the big Captain America dies and Bucky takes over.
Yeah, I think it's interesting they're going that route because it shows how Marvel Universe could kind of outlive their actors in a way. Like, this is the beginning of the Marvel Universe. Will be Iron Man characters, but there will be other characters that are the new Avengers, which is something that happens in comics so often.
I think I'm going out on a limb here, but Captain America 3, which leads off phase... Not leads off phase 3, but it's in phase 3. I think Cap might die.
I think so too, honestly. I think that's a really good guess.
That's my speculation, and I think that it'll be him and Bucky almost like fighting side by side, and Bucky kind of seeing what Captain America does to kind of take his role in Avengers 3.
What do you think, Joe? Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, we have heard a lot of things regarding contracts and everything, and yes, Chris Evans did say he wanted to direct. But since he said that, he has changed his mind. He has come out and said that he's got a good gig going on. He doesn't really want that to end. But also going along with that, Sebastian Stan, who plays Winter Soldier, is signed on for 9 movies, and he did 2 already, so I guess 7 more.
It's going to happen eventually, basically.
So I don't know if if Chris Evans still is on board to do this, I don't really think they'd really go all out with killing Cap like that. I was thinking maybe they make Winter Soldier kind of the next Loki, in that he's kind of a reoccurring kind of bad guy that, you know, everyone kind of loves to keep around. So that's where I think they're going to go that route right now, unless Chris Evans doesn't want to do it anymore, because I feel like they want Chris Evans there, because he is Captain America.
He is. And
we talked about moviegoers and stuff. I don't know how keen they'd be to Winter Soldier taking over.
Especially for the people that are just movie fans, because there's a lot of people on Tumblr and stuff that are just Marvel movie fans, and they look really deeply into it. For me, like, I'm a Marvel movie fan, but obviously I'm more of a fan of, I mean, I can't say more of a fan of comic books, but I'm a fan of both, so I see both universes. So it's interesting to see, like, if Chris Evans was replaced, how would those fans feel about it? Those Tumblr fans that really dedicate themselves just to the movie universe. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's been a big draw lately. Not gonna lie, because he's gotten really big because of Captain America.
He did, and that's why, hint to the comic book fans, DC is making Dick Grayson become a spy, just like Winter Soldier, and becoming a Winter Soldier character in the comic books, just because of the popularity. So.
What are you doing, DC?
What they would do exactly. So, Rob, what do you think? Do you think Winter Soldier will become the next Captain America? Do you think you agree with Joe that it's going to become more of a villainous thing like Loki?
I'm not 100% sure, but I tell you one thing: if Chris Evans decides to wait on directing, he's going to stay as Captain America. I mean, number one, he's pretty. I mean, let's.
That's
let's
why I
be
like
honest.
Chris Evans.
Just lay it all out on the table.
He's a pretty guy, all right. I mean, I'm not no homo, okay, but he's a good-looking guy. They really have done a good job of establishing him as Cap. He's done a good job of like really portraying, because I'm so used to seeing Chris Evans in other movies playing a cocky bastard. I gotta give him credit for really playing the humble, noble hero type. And I think he's done a good job. That doesn't mean I don't like Sebastian Shaw. I actually like him as Winter Soldier. I don't think I could see him playing or becoming Captain America. But, yeah, I think it all depends on Chris Evans. If Chris Evans decides to stay around, they'll keep him. If he decides he wants to retire and direct, they'll go the route of that storyline that Chris and Joe are talking about, which makes perfect sense. That would be the best way to kind of convert it over.
Yeah.
And in terms of my favorite plot point or scene in the movie, I love the fact that they highlighted a lot of the difficulties that he was going through adapting to his new world, and the scene with Agent Carter in the bed, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking because that was this girl.
So
that was
stop Agent Carter.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking to watch.
That's a good point. Thanks.
I like those are some of the scenes in the movies that really kind of like, damn, that was good stuff, because there is a lot of action that kind of engrosses the movie that you might miss that point, but those scenes stuck with me because that's what I wanted to see out of the Captain America character. How does this guy adapt to this world? We really hadn't seen that, and I didn't want that to be ignored, and I think they did a good job of highlighting that.
Completely.
I do want to ask, actually, a question of Agent Carter's niece, or no, granddaughter? Whatever. It's Shannon Carter.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, so it's Agent 13. So, again, not a humongous Captain America fan, but Agent 13, big part of the comics, very much a secondary character of Captain America. She didn't play much of a role in this movie, and I was really disappointed because I'm a big revenge fan, love Emily Van Camp, so she's a perfect fit for Agent 13, so I thought it was really weird that she wasn't really in the movie. What do you guys think? I'll start with Chris. What do you think? About Agent 13,
I think that...
Captain America sucks.
Shh. My friend's like interjecting right now because I'm in front of people. But I don't know. I think that she was in it enough where like she kind of is established as a future love interest for Cap. But
I'm a dick.
They kind of had to feed out the the actual Agent Carter herself being old, kind of being in the bed, kind of. I think that's the last we're gonna see of her. Maybe like a funeral in the next one. But I think they needed to feed her out before including Agent 13 too much, because people was like, oh, but he's still hung up on what's-her-face. But we see she's got Alzheimer's, and, she's forgetting everything and everything. So I think it makes sense the capacity she was in the last Cap movie.
What do you think, Joe, about Emily Van Camp, Agent 13?
I think, as Rob was saying, the focus of the movie was definitely on seeing how he kind of deals with this new world, and then just the main story to begin with. So he had so much going on. So I like that they included her, but didn't overdo it with her. I think the next movie we'll see a lot more of her, and I think we'll start to see that relationship. So I think they're going the right way with it, and I like her as the character too. I like everything about it. So.
What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what Joe's saying. That I think she'll play a bigger role down the road. I think this movie was an opportunity to just introduce her and bring her into the world.
And my last question for Captain America, and then I'll go down the line and ask if anyone else has any questions. what do you guys think about Hydra taking over Shield and Shield just being not existing anymore? I think Agents of Shield did, if you guys watch the show, did a perfect job of showing where Shield is at right now, really not existing. I'll start with Rob for this one. What do you think about?
I have mixed feelings because I watch Agents of Shield as well, and but I also remember reading Agents of Shields growing up. And on one hand, I think it is a fantastic story, a fantastic twist in the world. On the other hand, I kind of find it pretty sad that that Shield was just completely taken over so easily. So
I think Agents of Shield became a better show because of it, though. So I'm happy about that.
It did, but it's a very conflicting feeling because Shield is like epic government, agency that is not easily infiltrated. And don't get me wrong, Hydra is is pretty much their counter. So, but damn. I mean, it was epic on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like, oh my God, how could they let that happen? Hail Hydra. So.
Hail Hydra.
Oh man, yeah, but I think for the most part it's gonna work. I'm actually interested to see how it's gonna play into the Avengers too.
Yeah, I think that especially for the movie universe, they played it out for that, and we're just seeing it happen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little quicker. What do you think, Joe, about the whole Hydra thing?
I'm glad it's over with. I thought it was a great story for that one movie, and hopefully, I'm hoping that S.H.I.E.L.D's kind of out of the picture in the main movie because although that worked so well for Captain America 2, I don't know if it would work so well for Captain America 3, and if we get 4, and so on. So I'm glad it happened. I kind of want to see more focus on Captain America and maybe his villain and his love interest and everything else in the next movie, and less on S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that. So hopefully, I'm hoping they're maybe not done just on the low for right now. So that's my thoughts.
What do you think, Chris?
Of what, Hydra being at the end of Cap 2? Sorry.
Cool.
It was an interesting twist. I want to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to see how that played out because I heard it had a huge impact on it.
Oh, definitely. Again, the show became better because of it.
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes. I didn't watch all of it, but I think it was a good twist. I don't think it's something that should carry on too long. I think it was good that they did it. I hope they take it in the right direction.
Yeah, especially for the movies. But it was a very interesting plot point.
It's definitely going to be interesting how that factors into Avengers 2 and stuff like that. How it factors into Avengers 2 and the future of Marvel. Definitely a plot twist I was not expecting. And it definitely gives way for Red Skull to come back because I know that he's been talked about coming back soon. So who knows?
Any other points you guys want to bring up to the panel about Captain America 2? Okay, so let's go more into questions, and then we'll move into Amazing Spider-Man 2. How do you think, and this is from Cheese, how do you think Ben Affleck is going to do as Batman? Let's start out with Joe. What do you think?
I don't hate it as much as everyone else does. I think it'll be okay. And they released the image, and Ben Affleck's looking big. He's definitely getting bigger. I think it's going to work. I think that's actually the only casting in the movie I don't hate. So there's that. I think he'll do good.
How about you, Chris? What do you think about Ben Affleck?
I'm kind of in the same boat as Joe. It's kind of weird having a new Batman right after we had Christian Bale. But I like Ben Affleck, so I'm not going to complain about Batfleck, as people want to call it. But I think it's weird. We just had a great Christian Bale trilogy. Now he's not Batman anymore. So it's interesting kind of seeing him brought back and like this. It's good that he's a secondary character, essentially Superman. But I don't know. I don't like the fact they're taking new Batman so quickly. But I'm with Joe. That's the only casting of the next movie that I've liked. Because Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor.
Hated Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. What do you think, Rob?
I don't mind. I'm all for Ben Affleck. I wasn't a fan of Christian Bale, believe it or not. I really wasn't. I didn't like
Yeah, I
him.
thought he was okay. He wasn't the best Batman.
Yeah, he didn't do it for me. He really didn't. I think he benefited more from the actors around him than his performance.
I think it was more the Nolan trilogy as a whole, like the writing of it kind of was what made it.
Yeah, I don't think Christian Bale carried the movie.
Oh, okay. I'll agree with that.
With what?
That it wasn't. It was more that it wasn't Christian Bale that carried the movie. It was the secondary characters that did.
Exactly, and that's how I feel. And it doesn't mean that Christian Bale's not a good actor, because he is.
He's Ledger all the way.
He just didn't work for me as a Batman. And Ben Affleck, I think, is fine. I think he'll be fine. He's improved a lot over the years. I don't hate that casting either. I'm not also hating the casting of some of the other characters, to be quite honest. So, I know I'm in the minority there because I did a video about that and I got destroyed. But that's just my opinion. I think I actually like Jesse Eisenberg, and one of the biggest complaints was that he's too young to play Lex, but he's 5 years older than the guy who's playing Superman.
But he's
30 years old.
Are you?
So,
I mean, I don't hate Jesse Eisenberg. I just don't think he's the right fit for Lex.
Oh, we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, for me, I don't really love Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. He looks a little bit too young for me. Not saying he is young. Ben Affleck, when he was announced, I was actually really happy with the casting. I think he's a good actor. He kind of looks like Bruce Wayne. I was happy with the casting. I know a lot of people are against it, but I feel like after the suit came out,
it's all in the jaw.
It's all in the jaw. He's got the jaw.
All in the jaw.
He's got the bat jaw. So I think it's gonna
Hashtag that bat jaw.
The bat jaw. Yeah.
It's all in the jaw because that's all you see when he's Batman. So.
That's it, man. It's all about the jaw. Just look, when they cast characters for movies, just look at the jaw. If it works, then it's gonna be fine.
Whether you like him as Batman or not, you just see his jaw. If he's a good actor. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. He's got the right jaw to play Batman. I think he'll be a very good Bruce Wayne. So.
I'm perfectly excited for his jawline and him as Batman. But next
as just said, the picture looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you guys who are hating, I think you should at least give him a try. At least watch a trailer before you really say, "Oh my God, Ben Affleck's gonna be horrible." So next is, do you think Marvel could use the Inhumans, or perhaps even use the current Changeling as more of a mutant for the Marvel Universe? I know a lot of people are saying that. I think Inhumans are a little bit too much into a different origin, so I feel like they're just going to say, oh, they're different. They're not really going to put a name on it. But let's start with Chris. What do you think of that?
About what? Using Inhumans instead of mutants? I mean, they have to find a way around it, especially using Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. So I guess we're going to find out where they're going with it. Because there's a mosquito in my face. I'm sorry. Oh, I killed it. Nice. They're more talking about calling it miracles or something like that.
Yeah, miracles.
But it really how they go about it. I mean, if they could use the Inhumans, but that's opening up a different can of worms. You know what I mean? It's open up it's a different route. It'd be interesting.
I think it's too much of a different origin to use.
Yeah, it would be a completely different origin. But I think that they're going with miracles right now, just people just born with superhero powers. I mean that would be fine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, let's see how they do it in Avengers 2, and then kind of take that question a little bit later on to see how they go about that.
What do you think, Joe?
I'm gonna be real quick. I think it's irrelevant in the wording. As Chris said, it's how they handle the situation. But whether they call them mutants or whatever, miracles, whatever they call them, I think it's irrelevant. It's just a matter of can they handle it good. And they have a lot to live up to regarding Quicksilver, because Evan Peters, I thought, did a fantastic job. So, they definitely have a challenge set out for them.
Definitely. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think, we know they can't use the word mutants. I mean, they'll probably fit anything else in there. Whether it's special kids or
normally challenged.
Yeah, just mortally challenged. I like that. That's good.
Marvel's gonna steal that.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. The Inhumans thing, I, I don't know if people are even gonna really, not maybe you guys, but I don't think general audiences would be able to differentiate
As I
what
said,
Inhumans are.
it's a different can of worms. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
definitely a different can of worms.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I just think you'll just share something generic. They'll probably use it once and then be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it.
Mm.
Cool. So next question is.
I think the miracles thing works.
Yeah, I agree. Just call it another name. Inhumans, I don't think it's gonna work. It's way too different. Again, it's a whole different movie set, honestly. So next is, do you think Sony has been focusing too much on the villains of Spider-Man
Yes.
and not enough on superheroes like Prowler,
Ooh.
Spider-Girl, Jackpot,
Yes.
Alpha?
That's a great
Yeah,
question.
I guess, we could use a Black Canary. I mean, Black Canary. We could use a Black Cat. We could use, I don't think Spider-Girl's going to be in it, but we could use more heroes. I agree. I don't think they're going to do it. But let's start with Rob. What do you think?
Yeah, I just, they obviously they've already made their choice, Sinister Six and all that kind of stuff. I'm with that. I think he, he's Spider-Man. He's amazing. He's great, but damn, he needs help. He needs a little help. I've asked this question before, like, is this guy going to get some help at some point? Because, if they do this whole Sinister Six thing, and, I don't know how that's going to play out for him. I can't predict that it's going to play out very well. So that'll be interesting. But, wasn't the Black Cat, I forget her name.
She was, yeah, Alicia Hardy. She was referenced in the movie.
Yeah, she was, so maybe that's a hint of something to come, but I don't know how much help that is,
Mhm.
Isn't she like a burglar or something, or?
Yeah, she's more of a Catwoman. She was a little bit of a Jippo Catwoman. But yeah, I don't think she's really more of a help. Spider-Man, he needs help with the Avengers, and that's kind of weird. But there's no one in that Sony universe I feel like could really help Spider-Man. Maybe some of the Spider-Woman, like Jessica Drew, I could see that happening. But I think Marvel owns her. I don't know. I don't even think Sony owns her.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Unless they're gonna take Venom and convert him into good.
Yeah, have Flash Thompson be Venom. That's the best thing I can tell you, because that happened in comics, so it is happening.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Who's
But I'd
on
like
next?
to be
Mir-
bad first. Is that just me? That I want Venom to be bad first before he's good.
I agree, because they're gonna have a Venom movie too, so you have to see what happens. What do you think, Chris?
I think, yes, they are focusing very much on the villains, especially because in the second movie of the trilogy, they have 3 villains in it. Granted, I think they were balanced very well. Like, none overshadowed the other ones. Like, Rhino was a throwaway, but he was, good as a throwaway. Unlike in the original trilogy where, Venom was a throwaway when he should not have been a throwaway. But especially announcing a Sinister Six movie, it's like...
I'm scared. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of scared for all the things they're putting in here, but
I'm enjoying it as a Spider-Man trilogy right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
Granted, I have my personal qualms with how they do it, marketing-wise, especially. I see Joe agrees with me, but
Yeah, we've discussed this on the panel.
I think that they focus too much on the villains and the marketing, and then they're not capitalized on in the movies. B, they're just building up this whole Sinister Six thing, I guess, just to get people knowing about the Sinister Six. But I don't know. I think it draws away from Spider-Man.
Mhm. What do you think, Joe?
Regarding
Heroes in Spider-Man movies instead of all these villains.
They definitely have been focusing. Not only it's not really even eliminating other heroes as it is just Peter Parker's story in general. I feel like going forward, it's like they're putting too much emphasis on villains and not enough on everything else, and I don't think it's working. And I think the approach is wrong. I'm cool with the Sinister Six movie, but I say handle the Sinister Six stuff in Sinister Six. Don't do it in Spider-Man 2 and 3, and don't handle it now. Handle it then. Um, I I don't know.
I don't know what my phone is.
I don't like the approach they're doing at all. That's what I was saying earlier. I just think Sony's going about this the wrong way.
So we're gonna answer one more question. We'll go back to the questions after. But what's your favorite Marvel animated movie? I'm gonna say I don't really have one. I don't like the Marvel animated movies that much. DC animated movies, there are some great ones. Marvel animated, don't really care for. So let's start with Rob. Do you watch the Marvel animated movies?
Nope, I do not. After you see it on silver screen, it's like I don't really have any interest in watching cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave me a 20?
What do you think, Chris?
I think Big Hero 6 is gonna be awesome. It's a CGI.
True. I didn't even think about that. That's very true.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. However, I think DC animated is much better, especially Under the Red Hood. I absolutely love Batman Under the Red
Love
Hood.
that movie.
That was fantastic.
Wonder Woman, great movie too. That should have been a script for a live action.
I honestly think DC should just stick to animated and not do the live action ones, especially with the too much BS following, or surrounding Batman vs Superman. But I think that I don't care too much about Marvel animated, but DC animated has always been great. I mean, I love Justice League growing up. I love Batman Beyond was great. I think that DC has the animated down like very well. Like when there's a DC animated movie, I'm excited for it. Like they're always on Netflix, so I can always just go and watch them. But they definitely have it right. Marvel, not so much.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Joe?
So I was looking at the comments. These people, you guys are going hard in the comments, and it's all good. Keep up the commenting. But I don't watch any Marvel movies, so
or animated movies.
Yeah, that's what I mean, animated movies, or DC really. So I can't really.
I recommend the DC though, especially if you're.
Yeah, I hear good things about the DC ones. I hear nothing about the Marvel ones. So
they're really nothing. I hear the last one was a piece of crap, so they're really bad. Like,
didn't they
I wouldn't recommend it.
What are the two kids from the Disney Channel, the two animated kids, Phineas and Ferb? Didn't they have a Phineas Ferb?
They did.
Yeah. There we go.
That says it. It's like it's very. I don't know. I don't really like the Marvel animated movies. They don't really know what direction they're going to, and that could be a whole different podcast of their animated shows because they're not good either because it's all targeted to 6-year-olds. Where DC, like Young Justice and other shows, are targeted more to all ages.
Oh, Young Justice was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Young Justice is brilliant.
But yeah, I think Marvel's doing the right thing with doing Big Hero 6, with Disney animated pictures. Because I think Disney is great with their animated stuff, and I think that's the right route. And Big Hero 6, watching the trailer for that, got me so excited. Like I didn't no idea what really to expect from it. Then the trailer looks very lighthearted, very kid friendly, but also RH friendly as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like a Wreck-It Ralph
/
Frozen.
Exactly, and that's why it looks great. It looks like a Wreck-It Ralph / Frozen-esque, sense of humor to it.
Playing video games in the snow.
So I'm definitely excited for that.
So let's go on to Amazing Spider-Man 2. We will start with Rob, I guess. What did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I think I'm the only one that did.
I liked it.
Here's the problem. I think Sony went too far with the marketing. They went too far. They pretty much showed almost every action sequence. It definitely has a lot of flaws, but I can't sit here and say it wasn't entertaining. That would just be a lie. It was very entertaining. But yeah, I think the marketing overdid it. So when you take all that marketing and you show all these scenes that a lot of people are looking forward to, and they think they're gonna get more, and they get very little more than what they already saw, yeah, that's a kind of a downer.
Let me talk. I think Sony needs a new head of marketing. End of story. They're marketing for the first Amazing Spider-Man. There was a completely different movie told in the trailers than there was in the movie itself. In this one, like they literally just give away way too much in the trailers. I watched the first trailer and didn't watch any of the other ones, and I already knew like 3/4 of the movie. So it's like they just do too much, and they should be doing less. Their marketing is terrible. I should be their head of marketing because I know what to show, what not to show, because I know how much they pissed me off. Watch every trailer from the first movie. You know the whole movie, and you also know
Gwen died in the trailer.
Yeah, they had it
pretty much
on the top of YouTube. They had Gwen falling to her death. Looped. Why?
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they show too much. Like, granted, I knew that was coming because, I know the comic books.
So, going back to Rob.
All the stories good. It sets up MJ.
To be fair, though, in the trailer where Gwen is falling, he catches her. Now, as comic book people, we know the deal. That's why
I wasn't surprised at all. And I was spoiled before because it was beyond the trailer, literally releasing a video saying, how about Gwen dies before the movie came out? So I knew Gwen was going to die, but it wasn't a surprise either because I know it's known that Gwen's going to die.
I mean, she's wearing what she wears in the comics in that storyline.
That's a whole other ball of wax.
Yes.
I think, look, I think when it comes to Spider-Man at this point, I think there's certain expectations that I don't know if they can reach that. I really don't, because look, the acting wasn't the issue. I thought the acting was fine. I think Andrew Garfield's fine. Emma Stone is she's perfectly fine. The other gentleman, his name escapes me now, but he played the Goblin.
The guy from Chronicle?
Dane DeHaan.
Yes.
Dane DeHaan. Joe loves Dane DeHaan.
I thought, in fact, I would have liked to have seen more of him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not, but the movie definitely had issues. But I thought, I go to the movie as well, so like, there are some aspects of it I thought were fantastic, but
I gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, I for the most part I enjoyed it. I did.
All right, Chris had to go.
Right. Sorry, I gotta cut myself short. I'll see you guys later.
Cool.
All right. Okay, Chris. See you later.
But go on, Rob.
So yeah, I mean, the other thing too was like I read a lot of the critics and a lot of the criticisms, and I guess my issue was some of the criticism that I read were things that these same very critics were praising about other superhero movies. So, and to me, it's just like, all right, so like I heard one critic say, oh, well, this is just a big setup for Sinister Six. But what superhero movie doesn't set up another movie? So I don't, for that, to me, that's not a good criticism. Some people were criticizing the story, and that's fine. I think at this point, most movies have issues with stories because they're trying to fit in spectacle. So, I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people did not like the movie. It's not doing well here. It's done great overseas. Last time I checked, there were over 400 million overseas. That's just crazy. But
I can't even tell you why, because I was in the movie. I was an extra in the movie, and I did not like it. And usually it'll be like, oh yeah, I like it just because like I had that experience, but no, I did not like the movie. I was really disappointed with it. But yeah, Rob, what would you rate the movie overall?
7.5, somewhere around there. I mean, yeah, it did have issues. There is, but I can't, I can't come out and say, oh, this was a great, a bad movie. It wasn't horrible. I've seen much worse. Put it that way. I've seen much worse that I can't kill this movie. You ask me about Fantastic Four, I will tear it apart. So I've seen much worse. That's just me.
What do you think, Joe?
I agree with Rob. And Rob was saying, he was talking about the criticisms and everything, and he's completely right. The only thing I could say as to probably why people are commenting is because when people say setting up for future movies and stuff, something like Captain America, that's set up for future movies, but it didn't fail to have a story in itself. And Spider-Man's story in itself didn't really work too much.
I don't think there was one. There's the romance, and that's it.
Yeah, I liked Spider-Man 2, don't get me wrong. I saw it a couple times. I liked it a lot. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, period. So this is very near and dear to my heart. That's why I care so much. I want to see it, done good, and I'm cheering for it. That's why I was kind of hoping for more. But it was definitely a fun movie. Like I said, I've seen it a few times. I think it was very middle of the road. Thought Spider-Man 1 and 2 were better, and I thought this was better than Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3. Thought it was very middle of the road.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a humongous Spider-Man fan. Spider-Girl is my favorite superhero. Spider-Man is up there. I love Spider-Man. Been reading Spider-Man like all my life. And so I was really excited for this movie again. I was an extra in the movie, so I was really excited to see it. And honestly, I just thought the script was not well written. They try to stick too much into it. Did Gwen have to die in this movie? I don't think so. Was Green Goblin really needed? I don't think so either. I think it overcrowded Electro's story because Green Goblin was needed, or was in here. I couldn't even see what Green Goblin was about because they were sticking all these stories into one movie. The action sequences got me dizzy with the electricity. They could have encountered that better. You know, I don't think there was times where I think Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and Aunt May could have shined a lot more in this movie, but there was no chance to. Because something I like about The Amazing Spider-Man is that Andrew Garfield is a pretty good Spider-Man. I like Tobey Maguire, don't get me wrong, but he was kind of the weaker part of those movies. I think why Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's films did so well is because story is great. But is Tobey Maguire the best Spider-Man? Probably not. I think Andrew Garfield's a little bit better of a Spider-Man. And it's a shame that the script is not good. And then for me, I was just very disappointed with the movie. But do you guys agree that they're trying to fit too much, especially with the Gwen death?
So if you were to put Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man with Sam Raimi, you'd probably get the most epic Spider-Man ever.
Exactly, because
Yes.
it's actually Spider-Man from the comics.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, the thing, and actually, and Kat, of all the criticism and of all the whatever that I've heard about the movie, you're the only one to bring, that I've heard, to bring up the points that you did, and which are valid points, because everybody else was criticizing the same thing over and over. And it's like they were criticizing things that they would praise in other movies. See, what you did there was, I thought, and you actually kind of, you know, I was sitting there like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. Because you're right. I think it was too much too soon. You know, like, I actually probably would have preferred Electro out of the movie because I wanted to see more Goblin and Dahan.
Yes.
Like, I liked Electro. Like, I thought it was cool and it was fun. But I really liked Dahan more, you know. But
yes,
I even think he felt underutilized at some point. It's just, it was fun to watch the spectacle. I like that kind of stuff. But there definitely were some character issues. The story I didn't have too much trouble with because it kind of picked up where the other one left off with the father and finding out the story behind what really happened with that. So that answered my question from the first movie. So, but no, I thought, yeah, you bring up some good points. Some good points.
Yeah, I mean, that's the stuff I was upset with because, again, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and, you know, Gwen Stacy's death is probably one of the most popular comic book stories out there, especially for Spider-Man, and I think Emma Stone deserves better for a way out, and she just kind of died, and she didn't even die the right way. She wasn't on the Brooklyn Bridge. They kind of did the whole twip, neck broke, but she was in this clock tower. I didn't think Harry had enough motive to do what he did because everything was going on so quickly that you really couldn't catch everything. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really weird movie for me because I wanted so much more, and it seemed like they had the ideas, but this felt more like a first draft movie than a final product. And yeah,
it's because we care so much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely agree with me there. It's because I look at Spider-Man different because I just care so much. I love the character so much, so I want to see the best for it. I did very much like the movie, though. I liked it a lot. So, and Green Goblin, the look. Not only did I like Dane DeHaan, but the look of the Goblin itself gave me chills the first time I saw it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's interesting they used the serum and made him look a little bit more like he did here. So I thought that was very interesting.
And the laugh. The laugh was awesome.
The laugh, too.
I love the character. Just love the look and everything.
I mean, I think it's weird that Harry was the Green Goblin, Norman wasn't, because that really hasn't happened. I mean, he became Green Goblin, we saw her in Spider-Man 3, but it was never that Harry became Green Goblin first in the way they approached it here. Mm-hmm. So it's a little weird.
Right. Yeah, they definitely changed it up.
So it was interesting. For me, I would have to give it a 2.5 because I was really, really disappointed. And I don't know if it's worth, for me, I don't know if it was worth going to see in the theater. Obviously, I would have anyways, even if it's like shit, like I would go see it because it's Spider-Man. Like, but will regular audience see it that don't care about Spider-Man as much? I don't think you have to see it in theaters. But any other opinions on Spider-Man 2? Like any plot points you guys want to bring up?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on the Gwen thing. I was surprised at her death, not because I didn't know about it, but because you would consider Gwen and Spider-Man, or Emma and Andrew with such strong chemistry. That's probably one of the best points of the movie. So why would you want to kill that?
Yeah.
For the future, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying she couldn't die, but perhaps maybe let it go this time and do it properly the next time around. In fact, you could end the trilogy on her death, and then, but they already had casted Mary Jane for the third movie, so
they had her casted for this one.
They have Shailene Woodley.
Yeah, I saw that they had screenshots of her and everything, and then
Shailene Woodley.
Which, honestly, I did not like Shailene Woodley as Mary Jane at first, but then I saw Divergent, and now want to see Fault in Our Stars, and surprisingly, she's a good actress. Like, I never really liked, because I saw her in Secret Life of American Teenager, I didn't think she could play a movie actress, but she's not bad. She's very good at the character building, so I would like to see her as Mary Jane, even though she doesn't quite look like her. It would have been interesting, but I don't think she's going to be in the third movie, because, like, she got cut off. Why would she be in a movie? But what do you guys think about Mary Jane? Do you think Shailene Woodley would be a good Mary Jane? Joe, we'll start with you first.
Okay, well, I have two main points I want to bring up. I'm going to try to be fast here. No, I don't want to see Shailene Woodley. Honestly, I think Emma Stone would be a better
I do
Mary
say,
Jane.
like, dye her hair and just call her Mary Jane.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. I mean, from the get-go, if they were to do it again, I would want Emma Stone as Mary Jane as opposed to Gwen Stacy. I thought she would be a better Mary Jane.
I agree. I think she's a better Mary Jane also.
But have you heard, and this is kind of old news by now, I think it's pretty much confirmed it's not what they're doing, but did you hear about what Andrew Garfield wanted to do with the Mary Jane character?
No, I didn't hear.
And this is Andrew Garfield, so he has absolutely no say.
I think I know what you're saying, but I don't know the story, like, 100%. So.
And Mark Webb shot it down, so they're definitely not going to do this, but Andrew Garfield wanted it to be a guy, and wanted
That's what I thought I heard, yeah.
To be a gay character, and he wanted he had the perfect person in mind. He wanted Michael B. Jordan to be the new Mary Jane. I don't know, Michael Jane, I guess. I don't like Michael B. Jordan.
Actually,
Michael Jordan.
Now that you mentioned, I do remember reading that.
Yeah.
It's a touchy subject, because if you say, "Oh no, they can't do that," then you offend, however many homosexuals out there that would obviously be perfectly fine with it. I mean,
I think it's a change for that character. There's plenty of homosexual characters in comic books that they could put in the big screen that I think would be more appropriate, because Spider-Man never was a gay character. So I feel like they should put them on screen, then make Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Gay.
I think he might have said that to maybe score some points, possibly.
Yeah, or kind of let Michael B. Jordan know what's up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up since we were talking about it. I thought
it's definitely a good topic to bring up. I remember reading that, but I wasn't 100% sure. So.
Yeah. As for casting for Mary Jane, I don't have anyone in mind. Like I said, I would actually kind of like if they just completely ignored the fact that Emma Stone was Gwen Stacy.
And are you a bigger fan of Gwen, or are you a bigger fan of Mary Jane?
Mary Jane.
Same here, obviously.
Not Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane, though. I thought that was... Everyone says Tobey Maguire was one of the weakest parts. I never liked Mary Jane. Even as a kid, I didn't like the whole Mary Jane thing. She always seemed like an unlikable character, even when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So, I like Mary Jane. So I definitely want to see Mary Jane done right.
Cool. How about you, Rob? On the Shailene Woodley we'll talk about Shailene Woodley first. What do you think of Shailene Woodley being Mary Jane?
I don't know too much about her, so which is not a bad thing, because I like to see new people just come in and roll, because
she's really surprising. I'm gonna tell you, like, just see Divergent. She's a surprisingly good actress.
Well, that's what I want to say. Like, young directors and actors, when they come into the fold, they're motivated. So it's probably the best performance you're gonna ever get out of them, potentially. Obviously, there's people who perfect their craft over time, but I love seeing young actors come into the fold because, again, motivation. So I'm looking forward to seeing I don't know much about her, and I'll probably check out Divergent so I can get an idea. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I don't have an issue with that at all. I wasn't too crazy about Kristen Dunst either.
Yeah, I didn't really like Kristen Dunst as.
Just like, I don't know. There was this, I don't know. There's just something about her. Like, I don't hate her per se, but the way she played the role was, I don't know. It just didn't fit for me.
Unlikable.
I loved Emma Stone's Gwen. I thought Emma Stone's Gwen was like.
Because Emma Stone's just a great actress. I mean, I think she could play a better Mary Jane? Yeah, but it's cool to see her as Gwen Stacy also.
Yeah, and much better than Bryce Dallas Howard, that's for sure. So.
So, in your opinion, Mary Jane or Gwen?
Oh wow, character-wise, I mean Mary Jane is a good character. I just don't like Kirsten Dunst and.
Right. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, she's a great character in the comics.
If I didn't know about Mary Jane, and I just had Kristen Dunst to go on, I'd say Gwen.
Yes.
But it's a toss-up because I like Gwen. Gwen's, plus, she's got sympathy points because she died. So.
Very true. No, but that's definitely a debatable topic in comics. It's always, if Gwen didn't die, would Spider-Man be with Mary Jane? It's definitely a toss-up because it was his first love, but was it his true love is a question. For me, always been a big Mary Jane fan, so I'd love to see an actual good Mary Jane on screen. But Rob, who would you want to see casted as Mary Jane if you have anyone in your mind?
Oh wow. There's one young actress out there right now that I've got my eye on because she does such a great job, but she's too young. But I've mentioned her before. I think it's Chloe Moretz.
Oh,
she played Girl.
Okay.
She's a fantastic actress.
I love her.
Interesting.
She is fantastic. I mean, she's too young to play the role. I think she's like 17. 16,
yeah, she would be a little bit too young. But
damn it, go on like another 6 or 7 years, man. She'd be perfect. She's such a good actress. And I think she would be more of a Mary Jane that's a little bit more strong, like mentally strong, and a little bit more.
Which in the comics she is. In the movie, the previous Sam Raimi movie, she isn't. And
she's not. She's more like a damsel in distress.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, she's young. But that's one actress that every time I think of a young role, and she's too young. She's only a couple of years away from getting these kinds of roles.
Yeah.
But I think she's like that one young actress that I like seeing because she really, you can just tell she's very talented. Very, very talented young girl.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's definitely a very good point. I agree with you there.
Yeah, Chloe Moretz is actually an actress I always look for. If she has a movie, I will see it because she is a wonderful actress with so much range. To Hit Girl to
Carrie.
Carrie. I mean, I don't know if I would want to say Carrie, but yeah, Carrie. She has a lot of range. She's a great actress, and I'm really looking forward to her grow up into these roles. For me, if you watch Teen Wolf, some people do. Holland Roden. She looks like Mary Jane, and she plays the character technically already in Teen Wolf. She has the sass, but she's also strong enough to play Mary Jane. And I think there's definitely a balance for both those qualities for Mary Jane. So Holland Roden all the way. I did a topic video on this a couple of months ago on Comic Frontline, and that is definitely the casting I would like to see. Cool. Any other thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man 2?
No, except that they, hopefully they bring it in the third one. They have their action sequences are fine. They got that down pat. But and there were some parts of the story that I did get answered, like some questions, but I think they need to focus on where they want to go, especially now that Gwen's dead. Are they going to focus on romance again? Are they going to focus on this again? Like I said before, the movie had its flaws. Overall, I enjoyed it, but, I don't think it was as bad as some people say, but it's definitely, when you think about the first two Sam Raimi movies, it definitely doesn't even come close.
Yeah, story-wise, Spider-Man 2 still, even after Iron Man, all these movies came out, is my favorite superhero movie of all time. Just because as a Spider-Man fan, I think that story is wonderful. I love it. So yeah, I mean, hopefully in Spider-Man 3, I don't think it's going to be great, but maybe it'll surprise us and be, hopefully give us a good franchise. Even though, because I liked Amazing Spider-Man 1, I didn't think it was horrible. This one,
I liked the first one as well. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't hate a Spider-Man movie. It's
Yeah.
again, even Spider-Man 3, I don't hate it. I can't hate
Same
a
here.
Spider-Man
Honestly,
movie.
I don't hate Spider-Man 3 as much as I do Spider-Man in this movie, which is weird. I don't know. The thing
I
is, I
hate
just
the
have so much
treatment
that
of
like I
Venom
wanted
in
to see it
Spider-Man 3.
perfect.
I hate the treatment of Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
That's what I hate.
And the casting of Venom with Eric Foreman.
Oh God, yeah, Topher Grace, yeah. Oh, no.
Not good taste in your mouth.
No.
So we are gonna go to some questions, and then we'll go to X-Men.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on the rumored Venom movie? We talked about this a little. I'm just gonna say I would like to see a Flash Thompson. I think it's kind of going that direction because they already introduced Flash Thompson, but it couldn't be a villain movie. It would have to be, Agent Venom government thing. But I think that would have to be more down the line because he has to be in the military and lose his legs, which is okay because he just left high school, so it could be true. But Joe, what do you think of a rumored Venom movie? And who would you like?
I'm all for it, and I want the bad guy to be Carnage. I would love to see Venom versus Carnage.
Carnage versus Venom. That would be a crazy movie.
That would be
that would bring back the franchise.
Yes. As for who Venom should be, I would not say Flash Thompson just because of who. I didn't hate Flash Thompson in Spider-Man 1. I just don't see him being the lead of a movie. You know what I mean? The guy who played Flash in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah,
Because
I
they
mean,
have to
the
keep
actor
the
might
same.
not be perfect, but I think the character would.
Yeah, the character would be nice, but I don't think that guy really. I don't think he could be a
Hold
lead.
the movie in his own.
Yeah. So I would say Eddie Brock just from that point alone.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I would. I'm a traditionalist, so I'd have to go with Eddie Brock. And I gotta say, I would like to see Venom take on Spider-Man before I see him in his own movie. I just, and maybe it's because of my age. It's gonna be hard for me to see Venom first on his own movie before him and Spider-Man duking it out. Maybe they'll build that up, like they'll do the Venom movie, and towards the end, they do all these post-credit scenes, and you see like Spider-Man pop up or something. But yeah, Eddie Brock. I'd have to go with Eddie Brock first. If they did Flash Thompson, I think they would just recast the other guy. They probably wouldn't use him.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good idea.
Yeah, they probably just recast him. That's what they do. I mean, they did that for Harvey Dent in the in the early Batman movies in the '90s. Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent. Then in Batman Forever, it was Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, so they do that stuff. So that's not a big deal. They could just change the actor. So.
Yeah, I think that's a really good. I hope they do that because I would really like to see Flash Thompson because it's something different for the mainstream audience. We saw Eddie Brock, and I'm afraid that left a bad taste in other people's mouth. They're going to be like, oh no, I don't know if I want to see that because they don't know who Venom is besides that movie. So let's go into the next question, which is, did one of the writers shit on Martian Manhunter? Yes, he did.
Yes.
He also did the same thing to She-Hulk. And that was a DC writer.
Yep.
So, yeah, that happened. Did you all hear about this story?
Yeah.
I guess we'll start with whoever wants to go. Joe.
I remember reading that not only did he destroy Martian Manhunter, but pretty much everyone who...
Okay, so I'll be back in a second.
Okay. But pretty much every character who wasn't Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. They said they wanted those 5 to be the Justice League. I remember reading that. But now you got Cyborg in the Man of Steel sequel, so who knows. But yeah, in that kind of article, they destroyed Martian Manhunter. So.
What did they say about him? Because I didn't read the article.
I think it was just because this was a while ago. I believe the guy said it just wouldn't be kind of gripping on screen or something like that. I don't know. It's just something, I don't know, that was just negative without even giving it the chance. I like Martian Manhunter a lot, so I would want to see.
See, I don't know too much about him, but I've seen him. I know what he looks like, but
Yeah.
I don't know very much about the character, to be honest. I don't know very little of him. So, I mean, is there a connection with Mars or?
Yeah.
Yes, he is Martian.
Yeah.
Oh, he is a Martian. Wow. Well, I think, to be honest, though, I gotta kind of understand. Like, I mean, you took Man of Steel. Well, then again, think about it. I mean, you had the Kryptonians there, so why wouldn't there be a Martian? You know.
And he's also he is a really respected character. I think he's underrated, under the radar character.
Yes.
I think it'd be really interesting just because he's so big in the comics, or at least DC Comics. But no one knows him in the mainstream universe unless you grew up with the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
Like I did. Yeah.
So let's go on to the next question, which is, this is up Rob's alley. What would you think of a Marvel Godzilla comic movie
There
adaptation?
you go, Rob.
I saw this question earlier, and it's from one of my subscribers as well. What was the question again? Marvel.
What would you think of a Marvel Godzilla comic movie adaptation? So I don't know if this means, do you want to see a comic with Godzilla, or you want to see like a comic book like movie with Godzilla?
In other words, like Marvel's version of a Godzilla movie. It certainly wouldn't be what Gareth Edwards did. It would probably be more Godzilla, more flashy action. You know. But I think Godzilla's in good hands, unless they have Rodan in it. Now Rodan confirmed. Then I'm down for a Marvel Godzilla.
I mean, I'm down for Avengers going against Godzilla in some way. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of people say that. Yeah, like either the Avengers against Godzilla or the Hulk. I've seen a lot of the Hulk too because.
I would like to see the Avengers.
Yeah.
That's too like dream contest.
I think
exactly. Too much of a dream come true.
Yeah. The only two people I think could give him a hard time would be the Hulk and Thor. I don't think Cap and Iron Man would stand a chance, to be honest.
They'll be like floating around or throwing their little.
Yeah,
They'll be there for show.
Yeah, whatever, But Thor and
Black
Hulk,
Widow like tried to do something Hawkeye with his little arrow.
Oh yeah, forget it. Hawkeye, just stay in the ship. Just don't even show up for this one. So yeah, that's funny.
What do you think, Joe, on that?
I'm not a big Godzilla fan, so I just know, I just know the basic character of Godzilla. I think that'd be fun. And what we were just saying, that sounds nice and everything, but I don't see that.
But it's like one of those fan fiction things.
Yeah, a fan fiction type thing. Then absolutely, yeah, throw the Avengers versus Godzilla. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens, here's my money. So next is, do you think Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy who played Kick-Ass, version of Quicksilver would be on par or even better than X-Men's version? We'll get into X-Men very soon. Loved his version. I think it's going to be different. I can't say better. It's just going to be different. Let's start with Rob. What do you think?
I was really pleasantly surprised with Quicksilver and X-Men.
Yeah.
I thought he had probably the showstopper scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like the way he looks. I still think he looks like Elton John. But, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver, I think, will probably have more scenes. So he'll have more opportunity to upstage that. But I think he has a hard act to follow. And after what I saw on Godzilla, I'm not too, Aaron Taylor Johnson dropped a couple of meters on my good actors list. So yeah, he's got a hard act to follow. I think Quicksilver in the X-Men was great. Don't like the hair, don't like the whole goggles and all that, but looking past that, I can't deny the fact that he had one of the best scenes in the movie.
What do you think, Joe?
I really can't say anything that Rob didn't just say. I'm not going to be negative and say it's not going to be as good, but he does have a tough act to follow with Evan Peters' Quicksilver. It was very good. And, yeah, the look was very goofy, so I think the look, at least, will be better. I haven't seen the new Quicksilver, up close, but I'm sure the look will be better.
It's okay. It's,
Oh, is it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I have a video with pictures of them.
Okay. Is it
Scarlet
better
Witch
than...
looks great. She looks like Scarlet Witch, definitely. Elizabeth Olsen. She definitely looks like her. So I'm excited for Scarlet Witch. But yeah, the thing is with Aaron Taylor Johnson, what Rob was saying, that I don't know if he can really hold a movie, and I think that's proven in Kick-Ass. Like, he's a good Kick-Ass, but if Hit Girl wasn't in that movie, if Chloe Moretz wasn't in that movie,
Hit Girl's
it wouldn't have been as good.
I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, Hit Girl is awesome.
That makes the movie for me. And I know I'm very few people that actually like Kick-Ass 2. I love Kick-Ass 2 because it was so focused on Hit Girls. So.
I liked it more.
Yeah. So next question is, would a Marvel Civil War movie be viable at any point in the future? Now, Marvel Civil War was a big story arc in comics where they got to see Captain America versus Iron Man. There's the superhero registration where people sign up to give their secret identities away. The government knows who they are. They work for the government. or they are the rebels and they don't work with the government. So it's a very interesting thing that I think would work definitely, and they've already done undertones in the Avengers movie where they had Iron Man versus Captain America. They're butting heads, so I see this happening in Avengers 3.
Oh yeah, and I would love to see it. I didn't get a chance to read a lot of it. Most of what I learned about the story came from the second video game, Ultimate Alliance.
Yes,
because that was the theme of the game. So that's where I learned a lot of the story behind that, which is very compelling. I think that is probably one of the stories that's just going to take Marvel. Oh, but the problem there is we run into that whole blockade again of characters owned by other studios. So, I think
Spider-Man especially.
Yeah. So
he revealed his identity.
Yeah, and the thing of it is I mean, they could do it on a smaller scale where it just focuses on characters that are not those characters, but it wouldn't be the same, I don't think.
What do you think, Joe?
I think it's too risky for them. I don't think they'll take it. I think they have a good thing going on right now. I think they're going to play it safe pretty much. I see X-Men doing something more, because X-Men seems to just be doing whatever now. They did the Days of Future Past story,
and that's a humongous story arc.
Did you think that was going to be tackled on the big screen, though? I mean, that's a very...
I never thought it, yeah.
It's a very unique story. So it seems that X-Men, they're getting risky, but I don't think Avengers, I don't think they're going to be that risky. I think they're just going to continue to kind of play it safe, keep doing their thing, because they're making money. It's working.
Well, is Thanos really a safe character? I don't think Thanos is a safe character, and they're doing that. So I don't know if they're really playing it safe.
I think just the direction they're going in. I think they're not going to stray too much. I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing and stay focused on that.
Yeah, I think they're going to shoot for it personally. After the whole Thanos saga, I think that'll be the next one you see them go for.
I don't know where else they would go if they don't. After they do Thanos, like, what is there? I mean, obviously there's a lot of story, but with the characters they have Iron Man and Captain America. Why not?
Yeah.
Especially if Chris Evans goes, I think that'd be a perfect ending for him.
We have a while before that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's Avengers 3.
That is Avengers 3, so it's going to be a long way. But could they set it up in Avengers 2? We don't know. I actually do want to ask a question about another story arc, which is House of M. I'm going to explain what it is. It's where Scarlet Witch says, hey, I don't want mutants to exist anymore, so she says, no more mutants, and there are no more mutants. Now, since Scarlet Witch is in the Avengers, but not in X-Men, do you think that story is possible in the X-Men movie where I feel like they would go that direction, just make another character do it, since they've done this in Days of Future's Past? So I'll talk to Joe first about this.
I don't know too much about that story, so I can't really say much. From how you just described it, again, I don't think they'll go that route. At least not for now. Maybe years down the line, but in the short-term future, I don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Rob?
I've heard of the whole House of M. I've never read it myself because it's been a long time since I've read comics. But I think that's a story that is probably more familiar with the comic book readers.
Yeah, because it's definitely more a modern one. But not, I mean, it's like 2007 or something. So it's by Civil War, like near there.
Yeah, so I would think that, and it revolves around Scarlet Witch. So you're just introducing her now. We haven't seen her yet in the X-Men, but I'm pretty sure she's next up online at some point. I don't know. I mean, I don't, like Joe said, maybe down the line, because right now it seems like X-Men's focused on the whole apocalypse thing, and there's still a lot of villains they haven't even touched on yet, like Mr. Sinister. I would love to see him. They haven't even brought him into the movies yet at all, which surprises me. I thought he was. At least I remember him being a fairly big character.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, not currently in the comics, but he's a big character.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows? But I don't know. House of M is another storyline I'm not too familiar with as well. I've heard of it, but haven't never read it. Read it.
All right, so we're going to take a break from the questions, but keep asking because we are going to move on to X-Men, Days of Futures Past. I'm just going to say I was really surprised with the movie, loved it. I won't say it's a 4.5 movie. I give it like 4.25. I liked it. I thought it was a really cool character-driven thing. And I will talk about the Kitty Pryde things. I'm a humongous Kitty Pryde fan, but once everyone goes, I'll talk about why it shouldn't have been Kitty Pryde, even though the story arc's based on her, based on Ellen Page's character. But I really liked it. I thought it was a great sequel to First Class. Don't think about the other movies, because, it's connected to the other movies, but it's more a sequel to First Class. And if you think about it in that way, I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time at the movies with that. So let's start with Joe. What did you think about it?
I think it's hard not to think of the other movies because I feel that so many times they tried to correct.
Oh, they did correct it by the end. Jean Grey wasn't even Phoenix by the end of this movie. So
yeah,
you don't even know Weapon X happened. So
it was a self-correcting kind of treatment done to the franchise with this movie. Loved it, though. Absolutely loved it. I loved First Class a lot. That was my favorite X-Men movie, and I think I like this one more. I enjoyed the movie a lot.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
I thought it was fantastic. And exactly what you said, I said in my review, that it was a sequel to First Class. It completely eradicated Brett Ratner's movie, and at the same time, it just corrected some things in X and X 2. I thought it was I have to tip my hat to Singer on this one.
Yeah.
Because this movie had every reason to be a disaster. A large cast, 2 different worlds,
yes,
2 different timelines. You were juggling so much, and they did it really well. And even with the new characters, I mean, sometimes you'll hear people complain, "Oh, I didn't see enough of that character." But every scene that involved every character was perfectly fit for that amount of time, and they all made an impact when they did. I thought Blink, who was maybe in the movie for 2 total minutes, had some fantastic scenes. That shit she was doing, and I was
the portals,
like,
right?
Yeah,
that was
Blink,
awesome.
I was surprised they utilized her so much.
Yeah, she is incredible. And even Kitty Pryde, again, you didn't see her a whole lot, but she had a big impact on the movie. Quicksilver, didn't see him a whole lot, had probably one of the best scenes in the movie. Magneto was epic, and can I just say that when I saw him do the opposite of what he did in the comics to Wolverine, I was like shitting myself with excitement. Because I had that it's one of my favorite comics, because I love Wolverine. So in the comics, when he did that to Wolverine, and I saw him do it in reverse in the movie, man, I was going nuts. I was like, oh, shit. Crazy.
Yeah, that actually brings up a couple of questions I'm going to bring up about Wolverine. Let's bring up first Magneto. Magneto, Mystique obviously was the main villain for the first half, and Mystique was not going to kill the guy, the person who's created Sentinels. She wasn't going to kill him. And then Magneto came, and the second half of the movie started. And I really like that the whole premise is that what X-Men's premise is that, yeah, humans are against mutants, but it's always been mutants against mutants. It's always been Magneto against Professor X, and I love they established that in this movie. So let's start with Rob. Did you like the Magneto scenes and that he became the true villain?
I think in these superhero movies, there's certain certain actors you attach to the characters, and you can't see anyone else playing them. Prime example, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Iron Man. It's going to be hard to ever see somebody else play that role. I think Michael Fassbender is making a stamp as Magneto.
Yes.
I love him as Magneto. He is so fucking epic playing that role. He is incredible. Same thing with Ian McKellen, but it's a little bit different because when he put the helmet on and he did the whole thing and he took over the Sentinels, to me that was a evil move, man. Because just when I think, all right, I know this guy's bad, I know he's gonna have his own agenda because that's how he is in the comic, that's how he's been in the other movies. But damn, he really didn't have a reason to do what he did to Wolverine. That was to me that was evil because he's never really kind of fucked up any of the other X-Men like that so far. But damn, when I saw him doing that to Wolverine, I was like, holy shit. And he whooped his ass. I was like, wow.
He definitely did. I was surprised.
Yeah, that scene surprised me. I didn't expect that. So that was a good scene. But yeah, very much love him as Magneto. He's gotten that role. That's his role now.
Yeah, honestly, more than James McAvoy. Like, I like James McAvoy as Professor X, but someone else could play him. Michael Fassbender is Magneto, just like Hugh Jackman, in my opinion, is Wolverine. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Iron Man,
They're characters
exactly.
that can't be replaced.
Yep.
How are you, Joe?
Yeah, Fassbender, I say this a lot on the channel. Fassbender's my favorite actor, and he has a bright future. He even, I don't know if you guys like Assassin's Creed, but he's going to be, in Assassin's Creed, he's going to be one of the main characters. So I think he's going to be, as we know him as Magneto, I think he's going to have a few of that kind of, Mike Fassbender is that role. I think he's going to have a few of those. I think he's fantastic. I really do. So any role he's in, I think is great, and I think this is no exception.
Yeah. So another question I'm going to bring up is, let's talk about Quicksilver. For me, Quicksilver, I wouldn't want to see Quicksilver in the whole movie because he had that personality that I think it would be too overwhelming if he was in the whole movie. Perfect amount of time for Quicksilver. I loved him. I thought he was so much fun. They had Scarlet Witch in the movie a little bit, which was weird. Like, as a little baby, they're supposed to be twins. So I don't know. But love Quicksilver. What do you think? Let's start with Joe. What do you think about Quicksilver?
Well, I remember reading that one of the people said that was not Scarlet Witch, it was just his sister. Like one of the people
he doesn't
involved.
have another sister, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I love Quicksilver though. I can see what you're saying about it being, overwhelming, but we can't change what happened. I would have liked to see him more, just because of how much I enjoyed him for as little as he was in. I want to see him in the future though. I don't want that to be it for that character. I think that's pretty much the general consensus, is that everyone kind of feels that way. So I think we might be able to see him in the future just because of that alone.
And will Quicksilver know that's his father? It's even true in the X-Men movies because Quicksilver is the son of Magneto.
Yeah,
so
I don't think.
True?
They kind of alluded to it and kind of joked around with it, but I don't think, if they didn't do it then, I don't think they'll do it.
What do you think?
Yeah, I really did like Quicksilver. Yeah, I don't want him to pull a Nightcrawler. I hope he comes back. Yeah, I don't. Nightcrawler, never seeing him again was like heartbreaking, especially after that opening sequence, the next two. So I definitely want to see him again. I think we will, because the next one is supposed to take place like in the 80s. So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and they cut off the future. Well, as far as we know, because I know in the comics, even though they thought they avoided the Sentinels, they never really did. It ended up happening anyway. So we still might see the Sentinels down the road after Apocalypse. So my question is, you think so?
Yeah, definitely. Because, Sentinels is such a big impact in X-Men. They're the major villains, in a way, of the X-Men. So I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So I think Quicksilver, we might see him in the next movie. Maybe, as a hint to the Sentinels coming back in the future. Because remember, he wasn't in the future portion of the X-Men. So that, to me, says he's dead. So maybe during the Apocalypse War, he bites dust. So, so I think we might see him again. Oh, yeah, I have a question. Was that Cable in the beginning of the movie? I was looking at the X-Men, like the kid with the eyes and the white hair. Somebody told me that was supposed to be Cable.
That's what I heard. I don't know who Cable is, but I know the name, and I heard that someone.
He's supposed to be the son of Jean Grey and Scott Summers.
Yes.
Oh, really?
He's from the future, and he comes there. Cable. I don't know. Which scene was it?
The very opening scene of the movie where they show the little kid down like in the pit of all the dead bodies. And he kind of brushes away the dust, and they show the X, and then he looks back, and he's got like white hair, big eyes.
It probably was him. I didn't even notice that. It could be Cable, definitely. When I watch it again, I'll have to see it because I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so I heard a couple of people say that was Cable, but I'm looking for like evidence as to whether or not it was. So
I mean, the white hair, but other than that.
Yeah, I love Cable. Cable's awesome.
He's a badass character that needs a movie.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, how heartbreaking was it? It was heartbreaking for me because I love First Class so much. When they started reading off all the names, like Hazazel, dead.
Oh yes, that was like and they had her wing, the girl's wing. I forget what she was.
Angel, right?
Huh?
Angel.
Angel. Yes, they had her wing. Yep.
And then they had documents, and you saw Hazazel's picture, and it said like deceased, and they're like, Hazel dead, Banshee dead. And that was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
I love
I mean,
those
that's
guys.
the cool thing about this is that so many people died. And that's the cover of the most famous cover of Days of Future Past with Kitty and Wolverine, where there's just X marks on everybody. And I think it was a really good way they did it in the movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Man, yeah, I do remember that scene. That was rough to watch, especially like I loved the Banshee in the first movie. I thought he was so cool. So
that was
and
me
he
with
got crossed
Hazel.
off. I actually do have two more questions. One, I would say future X-Men, Kitty Pryde, and I'll get into the Kitty Pryde question for last. Iceman and all that. Do you think it was kind of sad that they weren't utilized that much? I actually think they utilized them a little bit too much. I don't think they should have focused so much on the future. Those were the dragging parts. Even though I like these characters, I just don't think that was the main point in the movie. But I'm going to start with Rob. What do you think of the future X-Men? Do you think it dragged, or you think they had just enough?
I loved it for one reason and one reason only. And if there's anybody in the room right now that's from my channel knows why. Iceman was Iceman. He turned into Iceman. He slept like Iceman. That made it for me. Because that was I love Iceman. That's another X-Men character. I'm really a big X-Men fan, so while Wolverine is like my #1 favorite, Iceman is like right there with him, and I love he's just a cool character. So when I saw him do that, forget it, man. I felt like a kid again, because that's one thing I didn't like about the other X-Men movies is that #1 he doesn't turn to ice. #2 #1 they hardly show him. #2 no.
And then he had a romance with Rogue and Kitty.
Yeah, and then #3 he turns to ice, but he does it for like half a second. Where this one, boom, and he slides around. But damn, I would love to see more of that. To be honest, I hope I get to see more of that in the second movie. But no, I thought that they showed a good amount of that. I don't think it was oversaturated. It was a little sad to see some of it, like when they broke Colossus apart.
That was pretty sad.
I was like, I didn't really care about Storm because I don't like Halle Berry.
Storm was hardly even shown in this movie. Literally, she was there to die.
yeah, and I never liked Halle Berry as Storm, never.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt, and maybe not so much now, but originally when the first one came out, I always saw Angela Bassett as Storm.
Okay, I like Halle Berry as Storm, but I can see your point.
Yeah, but I heard they're casting an actual African actress to play Storm in the next movie.
That'll be interesting.
Storm
has such a basis for that.
Yeah, I forget her name, but I know they're casting an actual African actress, a lady from Africa, to play Storm in the next movie.
It would be interesting if they picked the one from 10 Years a Slave, 7 Years a Slave.
Lupita Nyong'o. I'm just thinking of that right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so there you go, yep.
Yeah.
I'd love to see
so I heard. So that'll be good. That to me shows me that they're starting to take it very seriously. And they should. The competition's stiff now with like the Avengers and Marvel and all that. So.
And they have Fantastic Four, so they need X-Men.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe, on
the future?
X-Men?
Yeah, I mean, I was cool with the future. The thing was, they probably could have explained it better. Not for me personally, but I know just from people in general, the theater I saw it in, people around me were saying, isn't Xavier dead? Why is he alive? Why is this the future? How did it go from, X-Men 3 to this? And, I didn't really, I was into the movie. I wasn't really asking too many questions. But just from hearing people around me kind of asking that, I feel like the general consensus is that, it could have been approached more in a way, in the future sense, of just kind of explaining how it got to there from X-Men 3, how it went from that to that, just from hearing everyone else, talk about that. So.
Yeah, I can see that point too. So let's go into my last question, then I'm going to ask you guys if you have any questions. My last question is Kitty Pryde. Now, we know that Kitty Pryde is, as if you know the comic book or you follow news, that Kitty Pryde was the main character of this story. They replaced her with Wolverine. I'm a humongous Kitty Pryde fan. Like, I've read every comic with her. As you can see, Kitty Pryde's right here. Love her character. So I'm going to say I wasn't disappointed because I don't like Ellen Page's Kitty Pryde. Not because it's Ellen Page. I discovered this with this movie. It's because they never developed her character to the Kitty Pryde I know. And they never did. They had this romance in X-Men 3. They tried to do, because really Rogue replaced Kitty, because Kitty and Wolverine father-daughter relationship. They have a wonderful relationship. I love it. She learned to be a ninja from Wolverine, so it's a really fun arc. But I wish they just really dig into in the movies because it's really fun, especially for Wolverine. But I'm not disappointed because they never developed her, and I don't think she would be able to hold this movie because it's not possible. I would love to see a solo movie and see her developed. That will have to be down the line. But let's start with Rob. What do you think on the whole Kitty Pryde controversy?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's clear that Wolverine is the flagship of the movie. They established that more or less with the second one. I mean, the first one, yeah, a little bit with the first one too. It's kind of unfortunate. As much as I'm a Wolverine fan, it doesn't feel right. I still think Scott Summers should be the leader, and I'm glad he's
at least
back.
some more Scott Summers in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's back now. Maybe they can make that right. Plus, I like that conflict. I like that conflict between Scott and Wolverine. In terms of Kitty Pryde, yeah, you're right. It would have been a bad move to take a character you never really highlighted or established and try to have him carry the movie. Even though she's coming to her own as an actress, from a character standpoint, it wouldn't have worked because people want to see Wolverine. If you leave Wolverine in the future and let Kitty Pryde, then it doesn't do as well. It's unfortunate that it doesn't follow the comic the way it should, but it was a smart move. Like you said, I mean, they had to do it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I really think it's a shame they haven't developed her, and maybe over time they will, but because she is an amazing character. Again, she's a ninja, even though she doesn't have the best powers. She has a dragon that's a pet. Like, that'd be awesome to see on screen. And again, the relationship she has with Wolverine. Wolverine does not let people come close. It's more the relationship he has with Rogue in the movies, except it should have been Kitty. And they have such a wonderful relationship. I wish they could shine it. But, Joe, what do you think?
I don't know the character as much as you guys do. I would pretty much echo what you guys have been saying, though, where it would have been nice to see her kind of have more of an emphasis on her character, but at this point in the game, they haven't done it with Ellen Page, so they really couldn't take a huge step like that right now and give her the role that Wolverine had, the original role. They had to do it with Wolverine. So, but definitely what both of you guys said, everything you just said.
Echoed back.
Yeah.
So overall, grades for everybody. Well, Joe, I know you don't want to give a grade, but I think Rob, did you give your grade yet?
Oh, I 9.0, 9.5. I mean, I thought it was a great movie. I actually like it better than Avengers, to be honest.
Me too, honestly. I think Avengers sometimes can be a little overrated because I don't think the characters are as developed in Avengers, especially like Hawkeye, Black Widow. Like, it's a fun movie, don't get me wrong, but I think there are better movies out there than Avengers, or at least better superhero movies, especially for characters.
Yeah, it's a one-of-a-kind movie that brought together, it was a very, very good, nostalgic movie, but I think over time when you look back on it, the story wasn't really that great.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of plot.
Yeah, not compared to Days of Future Past, but it has more character power than X-Men. So, you know what I mean? So.
Cool. So we're going to go into some questions, so please ask more questions. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Guardians of the Galaxy and probably wrap it up. And then also compare all three movies, which ones we like better. So just keep asking questions and we'll go into them. So next question is, do you think the revelation of Hydra killed Tony's parents, could it mean an Iron Man 4? I don't know if we're going to get another Iron Man. I think they ended it. Will we see more Robert Downey Jr.? Yeah, probably in the Avengers movies, but I don't think we'll get another Iron Man single movie. I'm going to start with Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're pretty much done with the Iron Man movies, and I really wouldn't want to. If they were to make an Iron Man 4, I wouldn't want to see that as, kind of the main story.
It would be too far off after Captain America. They haven't even set it up, so it would be too far off. Like, Hydra's going on now. If Iron Man 4 is the next movie, it makes sense, but it's not.
Yeah. I'm going to be that guy right now and say that I really, truly didn't like any of the Iron Man movies.
It's valid. Just like I don't really love Captain America, it's valid to say that about Iron Man.
I'm that guy. And just for me, Iron Man 3 was really, really bad. I wouldn't want to see it go on.
A lot of people say that because it made a fun of itself, in a way.
It's not only just the movie in general. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it at all. So I wouldn't want to see it kind of continue on with another Iron Man. I'm cool with the character Iron Man being in the Avengers movies, just as a solo movie. You know, I'm not for that.
What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, Iron Man, it's kind of a touch and go kind of series. I mean, I thought the first one was great. The second one picked up on the action but sacrificed on story. The third one was a big question mark in my head, and I still to this day say to myself, why did they do that? Like, I'm not as pissed as some people are, but I am kind of like, why? Why would you take an actor like Ben Kingsley and just turn him into shit?
And waste them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Mandarin as a character too. It's like he's such a popular Iron Man villain.
Yeah. Now I heard they're trying to redeem that now, or that they might be because of the one shot.
Yeah, have you seen that, the one shot?
I personally haven't.
Yeah. All Hail the King?
Yeah, I saw it. Did you see that, Kat, the one shot?
I personally haven't, no.
Oh, really?
No, I'll have to check it out after this.
Yeah, it sets up for the future. Go ahead, Rob. You were just...
well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll make another one. I have to say I think they will. I don't think they're completely done with it. I just don't think it's going to revolve around Hydra. I think that if they do another one, they're going to try and correct what they did the first time.
And actually make Pepper rescue, because, like, Pepper just, like, doing that whole thing in the end, I'm like, why don't you just make her have a suit? Like, she has it in the comics, just make her become...
Oh, does she?
She does. She has a suit, and she's rescued, so she doesn't do offense, she does defense, so she saves people. And I thought that was perfect for Pepper's character. Why don't you just give her the suit, and that's it? And I was really disappointed that they didn't do that, because they kept, like, referencing it in the trailer, saying, yeah, Pepper's going to be rescued, she's going to be rescued, and never happened, so...
Yeah, and then when she had Extremis, I was like...
This is weird, honestly. It's like I like that they were utilizing Pepper more, but it wasn't needed because she's not a character that has to be utilized in that way. Again, give her the suit, utilize her that way, but you don't have to give her Extremis.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 was a very odd movie for me because there was some parts about it I was like, wow, that airplane scene was excellent.
Mhm. Definitely.
But there are other scenes where you're like, what? It's a very, very odd roller coaster of a movie. So, yeah. Yep. But it's got, Robert Downey Jr. and it's got Iron Man, and really you can never go wrong with that anymore. So, All
right, so next question is, do you think we'll ever see Deadpool done in a hard R-rated movie as he should be used in? Deadpool, I don't think Marvel is going to go R-rated route. I think it would be cool at PG-13, and they can still be violent, and, he breaks the fourth wall. Do it that way. Just give us a break the fourth wall Deadpool. You don't have to give us a hardcore Deadpool movie, but it'd be cool if we see that, and not Ryan Reynolds. I didn't really like him that much as Deadpool. But what do you think, Rob? We'll go with you first.
That's going to be one of those movies that separates the world. Because you're going to have so many Deadpool fans that are going to shit the brick if they get a PG-13 movie. But you'll get a lot of happy general audience parents that can take their kids to see it who will love Deadpool, and it's going to be a controversy. It'll be a controversy waiting to happen. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be the next one for the fan base to really start going nuts and say, fuck this movie, and it'll be like Michael Bay and the Transformers. It's going to
Oh, yeah, I agree, because Deadpool's... I mean, I'm a humongous Deadpool fan, just I never cared for the character that much, but there are hardcore Deadpool fans out there. Hardcore Deadpool, more than any other character. Like, you could say you're a fan of Batman or anything else. The hardcore characters are Deadpool. They're there, and they're going to want a rated R movie. They want blood. They want break the fourth wall, and you could only do that in a rated R movie. It'd be too risky for Marvel, though. I don't think they would do it.
Yeah. Especially now with Disney behind them.
Yeah, Disney. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
Good point.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but yeah. But he's not in the 20th Century Fox, because that's kind of weird, right? He was in.
Yeah, who knows if he even.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was in. Now that's a whole different ball of wax. Because
that could be done an R-rated movie. I agree.
Yeah, if that's the case, I think you'll see an R rating. But I think, he might be one of those X-Men characters that goes on both worlds. So I don't know. That's actually interesting. I have to look that up because I know he was in the Origins movie.
Yeah, X-Men Origins.
Well, so, someone in the comments actually did say he's owned by Fox. So.
Oh, so he's also then. There you go. So there is hope. There is hope.
Yeah.
Joe, you have any other thoughts on Deadpool?
Well, now since we know that he's owned by Fox, I could see it happening, especially because Fox seems to be, they dropped the F-bomb the past
They did. With Wolverine, they did in first.
Like they've done it the past few movies. They did it in Days of Future Past too, and First Class. So,
yeah, First Class time. That was the one I remember. That Wolverine. That was like his cameo.
Days of Future Past. They're using it every time, and in a PG-13 movie, you can say it once and get away with it. So they've been kind of, on that verge. They've been seeing what they can get away with. So it seems like they're kind of on that border. So if it was to ever happen, then that's kind of the position you want to be in, is with Fox. So there's hope. There's definitely hope.
There is definitely hope. There's another question I think we're just going to go quickly on. Have you spoken about TV shows? We did a little bit about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's the only thing that's going to connect. We'll probably maybe do another podcast on Marvel TV shows, but there aren't a lot besides Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that'll probably be around fall. We'll do more of that.
All those coming up.
Which one?
All the Marvel shows coming up. Daredevil.
No, yeah, the Netflix shows. We'll definitely have another podcast about that.
There's an abundance of comic shows coming out, because now you got the Gotham one too. There's shows all over the place.
Honestly, just superhero TV shows in general. We'll probably do another podcast on if you want that. So next question is a fun question, I guess. Harry Potter and Spider-Man crossover? Anyone? No.
Never.
Don't think that would work.
I'm not even going to answer that.
I don't know if that's a valid question, but so next question: what are some Marvel and DC female solo movies you guys would like to see? I mentioned Miss Marvel, so we'll start with Joe. Female, DC, or Marvel?
Like I said earlier, I don't really know any Marvel characters besides the ones portrayed in the movies. So I don't know. Pass.
All right, how about you, Rob? It could be DC or Marvel.
For DC, definitely Wonder Woman. You gotta get a Wonder Woman out there.
Okay, yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah, for Marvel, honestly, and I agree with Marvel, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. I would like to see a She-Hulk. I know it's not. I know it'll never happen, but she's really, really big character in the comics. A lot more than people think, and it's I mean, nobody would want to see it, but
played by China.
Comics. I thought she was awesome. And, on that note, I want to say, going back to the X-Men thing real quick, there's one X-Men I would love to see in the movies, and that's Jubilee. I would love to see Jubilee.
She would be interesting. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they showed a glimpse of her in the very first X-Men. I don't know if you guys remember that or caught that. Mm-hmm. She was in the classroom. She had the yellow jacket, and they called her by her name. Actually, no, it was an extra scene that they cut out, but it's on the DVD. If you have the DVD, go check out the extra scenes. She has an extra scene where they call her by name. But she's also in the movie, in the classroom, in the first movie. And, she's a character I'd like to see. I know she's not nearly as popular now as she used to be when I was growing up. But
with the 90s cartoon, she was definitely popular.
Yeah, very, very popular. So
there's also another one. Again, it's the relationships that Wolverine has is with Jubilee, Kitty, now this character, Edie. Those are the three core the father-daughter relationships he has. So it would be interesting in Jubilee and Kitty.
Yep, and the relationship that I remember that I grew up with was the Jubilee relationship, which is probably why I'd want to see her on the big screen because...
Yeah, just see these interactions, especially Hugh Jackman. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, it would be so. It would be cool.
All right, so we're going to go into the last question. If you guys have any more questions, the last thing we'll do is answer questions. So we're just going to talk about Guardians and then overall the three movies. So last question that we have so far is... what would you guys think about live-action movies based on Marvel's Alpha Flight and Excalibur? Don't think they're popular enough. Excalibur is a British team, and Alpha Flight is a Canadian team. Don't think they're popular enough. Excalibur, actually, Kitty Pryde wasn't. But, Joe, I don't think you know these, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you can sell Cat in Britain.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't sell Cat in Britain. No.
I don't know any of this.
Yeah, I had a feeling Joe probably would, because this is very comic book. This is not really mainstream.
Yeah,
I've never read a comic in my life.
Right there, that's deep comic book. That's third tier. To me.
That's honestly, some comic book fans wouldn't even know. As a comic book reviewer, I know these stuff, but even I would say casual comic book fans might not even know who these people are.
See, I remember them growing up because there were a couple of comics revolving Alpha Flight and Wolverine, and I only know about Excalibur because of Captain Britain, and the only reason I know about Captain Britain was because that very popular series that I liked reading when I was growing up called the Inferno series. He had a very, very, very small part in that. So that's the only reason I remember those guys. But outside of that, yeah, not a big presence.
So they, again, as a comic book reader, they're not going to happen. Unless Guardians does well, which I'm actually really surprised, which we'll get into, that Guardians is getting a movie, because they're very B-list, C-list. So I'm very surprised with that. I don't know. It really depends on Guardians if they're going to do any of these type of characters. So we're going to actually go into the three, again, guys, final questions in the comments, please ask. We're going to go into 3 movies. Which one did you like the most so far? Let's start with Joe.
Out of Captain America, Spider-Man, and X-Men?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough question. Like I said, I'm completely biased towards Spider-Man. I just love the character so much. And yeah, I made it sound like I hated it from how I talked, but that's just because I care about the character so much. To answer your question, oh, that's tough. I gotta go with X-Men. I think I have to go with X-Men. Captain America's a close second, but I loved Spider-Man too. I thought all 3 of them were great. Late April, because that's when Captain America came out, late April, and May have been 2 great months.
For movies, definitely. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, it's overall, I enjoyed all 3 of them just because it's just fun to watch these movies and see these characters come to life. But I think for number 1, yeah, I'm going to have to go Godzilla. No, I'm joking. Amongst the superhero movies, definitely X-Men's number 1. Number 1 movie by far. Captain America, definitely a second. And yeah, I'm going to have to put Spider-Man third. And a distant third. Great action and all that. But man, as far as story, I thought X-Men was almost a diamond, man. That movie was so good. I was so impressed.
Same order as you guys. X-Men by far was my number 1. Then Cap was good, solid movie for me. And then Spider-Man I just didn't like. And I think because we're all 3 of us are very story driven, and I think we've seen that with our comments with Avengers, because there are people more action driven, and that's going to be the people that say Avengers is their favorite movie. And for us, as more story driven people, we like X-Men better, or I think that's gonna be the difference of people saying number 1's Captain America, number 2's X-Men. It's gonna be that difference of who's more story driven and who's more action driven. And for me, I know I'm more story driven.
Well, Captain America told a great story as well. I thought that was
It did, but I think it's a little bit more actiony, because X-Men I think went into the characters more. Like I think that's actually a better point. Is that I think X-Men is more character / story driven. Captain America didn't go into Steve Rogers and Black Widow's character as much as I think that X-Men did. I think it's a little bit more actiony.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Cap definitely has more action. And you see, that's the thing. I'm very 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other, because I can enjoy an action movie despite the story. Like I actually like the Transformers because I know I can go in there at like midnight, switch my brain off, shove popcorn in my mouth, and still have fun. Where like when I get a story like X-Men, then I get fired up, because that movie is like, you got to pay attention, you got to know what's going on. So I kind of like both, you know what I mean? But yeah, if a good story comes out, I will probably yield to that more than I would yield to just the pure action, because that just makes it even more the better, especially when you have a combination of both, which is what X-Men had. It didn't oversaturate with action, but there was a nice balance. A good balance of story and a good balance of action. Captain America, while the story was good, leaned more towards the action. So yeah, so I agree with that. That's why it's number 2, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that X-Men told a better story, in my opinion.
I think again, just us as moviegoers, that's how we feel. And there are different type of moviegoers. And I think that's just an opinion for us, but I'm sure there's going to be different lists out there. So let's go quickly into Guardians. So again, get your questions ready because that's going to be the last portion. Guardians of the Galaxy. Are we excited? What do we expect? I'm going to go quickly and say I'm excited. I'm not a humongous Guardians of the Galaxy fan. Just started reading them with the Marvel Now, so about a year now I've been reading Guardians of the Galaxy. Didn't really pick up any back issues, but people have been telling me I should. But yeah, this is going to be hit or miss. If this doesn't do well, they're going to keep going popularity. They're not going to use those obscure characters, maybe like Excalibur, Alpha Flight, which I don't think they're going to use, but, you know, more of those unknown characters, because Guardians of the Galaxy are not A-list characters. They are C-list characters, and that's what they're known for. So I want to see this succeed, to see my favorite characters maybe hit the screen. So it'd be interesting. So I'm going to start with Joe first. What do you think of Guardians? I'm excited just because of the rings for Marvel.
I don't think it's going to be a huge movie. Yeah, it'll probably win the box office that week and everything, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, a Marvel kind of movie when it comes to, you know, how it dominates the box office pretty much. I'm excited for it just because of that cast alone. I mean, you have Chris Pratt, who, you know, Parks and Recreation over here. You have Zoe Saldana. You have Batista, who's a wrestler. You have Merle from The Walking Dead. You have Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, John C. Reilly. It is a bizarre cast. And that
for a bizarre movie.
Yeah, it's a bizarre movie, definitely.
Yeah.
That cast alone makes me want to see the movie. Because that cast is just so bizarre. So.
What do you think, Rob?
I'm very interested to see how this is going to turn out. I think I never read them in the comics. A very small hint of them because I did read the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity Crusade when I was growing up. But the thing of it is I think they're going the comedy route, which might be smart. I think that's a smart move. I think it's smart that it doesn't seem like it's going to take itself too seriously. I think it's going to be a surprise. I don't think it'll do wonders domestically, but because it's got the Marvel tag, I think worldwide, internationally, it's going to do good numbers, which always garners a sequel. You make the money, you get a sequel. It is a gamble because they seem to be kind of like already attaching it to some of the other movies because, you know, at the end of Thor, Lady Sif and who was that, Volstad? Or I forget the guy's name.
All I know is that Zachary Levi played him.
And they went.
Not a big Thor fan either. So
they paid a visit to the Collector. So if it doesn't do well and they're already linking it, then that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the future. You know?
Yeah, again, I think it's going to show that they're going more mainstream. If this does not do well, they'll kiss those C-list characters to get a movie goodbye. Honestly, kiss Captain Marvel goodbye. I don't think they'll make a Creed movie, or, you know, Miss Marvel. I don't think they will if Guardians does bad. They know that space doesn't do well. We got to keep this in Earth. So this, again, hit and miss for what Marvel is going to do next if Guardians does bad.
I think another interesting thing, too, is this. If it does extremely well, then now DC and the other two studios have a lot to worry about. Because now you got the Avengers, and then now they have another franchise to work on that is not even, like, mainstream. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be very, very – I'm excited for it. I like it. I think it looks good. I like the way it looks. But I want to see how it's going to affect the world of superhero movies because it's not really a superhero movie. It's a sci-fi movie. And – you know, this is more stuff that DC and Fox and Sony would have to compete with if it does really well. So, interesting stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to ask actually about Guardians of the Galaxy. What do you guys thought? What do you think of Rocket Raccoon and Groot? I think those are kind of the selling. I'm going to say Rocket Raccoon, especially as I see in the comics, he's the selling point because he's very comedic. He'll be like, "I'm going to fracking kill all these people." That's what he says. That's literally his lines. And then with Groot, he always says these like awkward moments. He'll say, "I'm Groot," and that's it. That's the only lines he's going to say is "I'm Groot." At least in the comics, he does that. And he'll say in really awkward moments, like when a fight's about to begin, he'll say, "I'm Groot." So, do you think these characters that are a little crazy will adapt onto screen for mainstream audiences? I'm going to start with Joe.
Yeah, I think because people will be looking at it as a comedic kind of venture. So yeah, I think people will kind of get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it'll go over well in that regard.
What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think you can kind of already see them selling it that way.
Because it's in the trailer. He says, "I'm Groot." You can
yeah, and I think he might, and I'm pretty sure they'll give him more lines. I'm sure Vin Diesel's actually a very good voice actor. He got a lot of praise when he did the Iron Giant, and he does have a very unique, deep voice. So I think they'll take advantage of that and leverage that to expand Groot a little bit away from the comics, which could actually kind of maybe work for the movie. But I'm very excited to see Rocket Raccoon, especially Bradley Cooper, because he's another one that could be very funny. So yeah, I think that's going to work fine. I think if they highlight those two in the sense of the comedy, along with Chris Pratt, because he looks like he's got some pretty funny moments. So I think Zoe and Bautista are going to be the more serious, no-nonsense business kind of characters. And I think Chris Pratt, Raccoon, and Groot are going to be your, slapstick, kick-ass characters, but with funny moments. So, and that's a good mix. I think that's a good mix.
I'm warning you right now, I'm a wrestling fan. I watch wrestling and everything, and Batista's not that good when it comes to the acting.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see.
So don't.
All he has to do is wrestle. That's it.
Yeah. Don't expect too good of a actor out of Batista.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll be the way they're going with him. Not good acting.
Yeah, I think they're going with him for the muscle more than anything else.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a question about Gamora. Now, Gamora is the daughter of Thanos in the comics, so that's going to be an interesting plot. But what they're doing with Gamora's character is that they're making her a love interest, it seems like, for Star-Lord, which really doesn't happen in the comics that much. She's more of this, really strict person. They've had, stuff, but not really a romance, so it's kind of weird that they're doing this for the movie. Do you think they're doing this just to have a female audience to have that romance like every other Marvel movie has? Do you think they should go this route? Personally, I don't think they need it. I think girls will go see this movie for Chris Pratt, honestly, or just action. I don't think they really need to show the demographic for that. So what do you think about Gamora in general? We'll start with Rob.
Yeah, it's always going to be, the motivation is always to try and get the female audience in there, but it's too hard to tell if they're going to go full tilt. It could be more that he tries to hit on her. And
that's what I would hope, because that's what
he tries to hit on her, and she's like, whatever, get out of here. From the way her character seems to be portrayed in the trailers, I don't think she'll go for his bullshit, to be honest. I don't think she's going to go for it. Which still, if you play that out, that could still bring in a female audience. Some females like that kind of stuff, And
I think females like superhero movies now in general, just because they like it. I don't think you need a romance.
Yeah,
I'm a girl that likes superhero movies, and it's not because of the romance. I like the romance in some movies, but not in every movie, because then it becomes a formula.
Yeah. I think you can stand on its own 2 feet without a love relationship.
What do you think, Jeb?
Yeah, I don't see the relationship happening just from the point of they don't need it. If they do throw it in there, I think it'll just be because let's throw in a romance, just to throw in a romance pretty much, because a lot of movies do it. So, yeah, I don't think it's needed at all. I don't think they're going to do it. I think, as Rob's saying, if anything, it'll just be her kind of pushing him off.
Yeah, I hope it goes that direction, because she's daughter of Thanos. Especially if you want to bring Thanos in, you got to show that daughter is kind of a stronger character too. All right, so we're going to answer a couple last questions, and then we'll probably wrap up the show. So first question is from Leonardo Gordon. How would you introduce X-23 in the X-Men movie? Joe, if you've seen X-Men Evolution, that's where she's actually first introduced. The one with the 2 claws.
With the what?
The 2 claws, she's like the clone of Wolverine. So she's...
wasn't she in the Origins? Or X-Men 2 or something?
She was not in X-Men 2, but she was in, X-Men Evolution, the TV show.
She wasn't in any of the movies?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I think you're confusing her with Lady Deathstrike.
Yep, that's who I'm confusing her with.
Who was in X2, I think.
Okay, yep, that's who I'm confusing her with. Yeah, I don't know. I saw Evolutions a long
It's a good show. If you want a good Kitty Pryde portrayal, she does really well in that show.
Yeah, that's actually funny because we just talked about Batista, and the current group he's in wrestling is called Evolution. But yeah, I don't know anything about the character. So Evolution was a long time. That was when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, I mean, I watch it because I'm a comic book fan, but for someone that grew up with it, you probably won't remember all the little story details.
Yeah.
But for X-23, I think it'd be a good idea if they gave her like a solo movie, if they introduced her. I think it'd be interesting because she has a really cool origin story. But then X-Men Origins did so bad, I don't know if mainstream audiences want to see that again. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, this is probably not known enough. I mean, if they wanted to go that route, I would think they'd have to introduce her as a character in the X-Men movies, and you still might see her. You know, she might show up in Apocalypse. Who knows? I mean, they could do whatever they want. There's so many characters. But yeah, probably for the most part, you probably won't see her anytime soon, if at all. So.
Yeah, I think that would be very down the line if we do see her. All right, next question is, since Mystique is Stryker in the end, will Wolverine get his claws back? That was actually a question I had with the whole X-Men movie. I don't know if Weapon X happened.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying that, and the guy next to me was saying that in the theater, and I didn't really get that kind of question. Yeah, she has Wolverine now, but I mean, there's still, what, 30 years or
yeah,
something?
I mean, there's a good couple of years. I would say, I think it happened in like the 80s or something. He got his powers, or, you know,
oh, okay, so then
the Weapon X thing. So it's a couple of years down, but it's a butterfly effect. Would that be, we don't know.
Maybe that happened all along. I mean, I don't think everyone was so kind of set on that and kind of looking at that, and I didn't really take that as much of a big deal as everyone else seemed to, because you know, that's now. You know, we don't know how long she had. If it was she had him for 30 years, you know, or 10 years, then that'd be something. But we don't know. She got him for a day, for all we know. You know what I mean? So.
What do you think, Rob?
I think somebody speculated on my channel when I made my review that he eventually she's going to take him, or he eventually becomes Apocalypse as one of his horsemen. But I thought that happened later. I remember that happened much later. I think here's my question before even that is a question for me. He wakes up in the mansion. He sees all the X-Men, all alive, including Jean and Cyclops. He tells Professor that he remembers drowning. Mm-hmm. And then that's when, you know, they cut to the scene of him in the water, and she retrieves him. Who's to say that she just doesn't return him to the Professor? Because she pulled a good act at the end. I'm not saying she's a good character. She seems to be flying solo. I don't know. I think it could just be a rescue mission. Maybe she was all about mutants, and he's a mutant. So maybe some people are just kind of overlooking it too much. Like, they're looking into it too deeply. Hey, yes, she saw what Magneto did, so why not go and rescue him and act like a military figure to get him out of there without question? And then return him to Professor, and there he is. He's back at the mansion. He's alive. So it could but the fact that they highlighted it at the end the way they did, on one hand, you could say it means something. On the other hand, you could just say this is how Wolverine survived.
True.
Simple as that.
True. Yeah. I think she has her own agenda. That's why I think that people are kind of, you know, saying, you know, what's she going to do with him and everything. But, yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's a really good point. All right, so next question is, how many Avengers do you think Thanos will kill in Avengers 3?
Oh,
I don't know.
How are we going to get
that's
that?
so far away.
I'm sure he'll kill a couple of them. You cannot not kill a couple of Avengers if you're Thanos.
Hawkeye, probably. Honestly, I feel like Jeremy Renner I don't like as Hawkeye.
Probably Iron Man. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is got to be done soon, right?
Yeah, but I think people will be too much of an uproar that Iron Man died. But then, I don't know. Maybe.
It would be good shock factor, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then it'll be like Agent Coulson's like, oh, well, he's not really dead. And be like, yeah, but he actually is really dead. So, I don't know. It's like, it's comic books. Who really
Watch Iron Man, Captain America. You could do all the characters in one sweep.
That'd be too much of a heartbreak. I think people like have to go to the hospital after they get a heart attack from that movie.
I think Captain America is probably the likely one to get killed.
Captain America, I think, would be the most likely.
Yeah.
I would say Iron Man maybe too, because of his age and just because of the fact that Iron Man, the solo movies have to be done, or if they do one more, they can't be doing too many more Iron Man movies. I don't see it. Plus, Downey Jr. is, getting older. I see that character being done soon. So that's why I would say definitely.
At least being done with Robert Downey.
Yeah.
Batman movies we get. You'll see another Iron Man movie like 5-6 years from now with somebody else at the helm.
Yeah. Or maybe a War Machine I could see happening. I don't know if he'd be an Avenger, but he'd be made to take the place. Just saying, yeah, there's still Iron Man out there, but he's War Machine. I could see that happening.
He's in Avengers too, so that's a possibility for the future.
Yeah, that'd be another interesting thing. War Machine. I have this strange feeling too that Red Skull is going to reappear in Avengers 2. I'm getting this gut feeling he's going to pop back up.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Not Hugo Weaving, because I know Hugo Weaving has no interest in playing the role again. But something
I don't even think he has to, because Red Skull is a mask, so.
Yeah. I have a feeling he's going to pop back up. The whole Hydra thing, the way they're building it up, and just the fact that he had the Tesseract at one point, it looked like he got taken. There was no confirmation of his death. So I just get a feeling he's going to pop back up.
Loki, for all we know.
Yeah, like maybe he's being held captive somewhere. Maybe I don't know, but I just got a feeling that character is not 100% done.
Yeah. So we got 3 more questions left. So the third last one is, if Loki gets his own movie, what do you think he will be doing in it?
This is a rumor. This is a rumor that's been started up, I think, a couple days ago. I saw it.
I didn't even hear about this. I mean, I feel like it could be a rumor that's always a rumor. It's just like Loki's getting his own movie, which honestly I could see. He has such a popularity now that he can hold his own movie.
Yeah, he's been consistently, like, one of my favorite aspects.
And Tom Hiddleston is
incredible.
Loki.
This has made Tom Hiddleston, pretty much.
Yeah, it did. I didn't know him before this.
It would work, and people would go to see it. Loki's that character right now. People, people love him, and it would definitely work. As to what he would do in the movie,
it's a very conflicted character. I think that's why he's so appealing.
Yeah.
Because like in Thor, before you knew what the deal was, you thought he sacrificed his life for Thor. And he did kind of, for his own agenda. The villains always have their own agenda. Magneto's a prime example. But I think the reason people gravitate towards him so much is because they understand why he is the way he is. He was taken in by Odin, so he doesn't feel part of this world. The other world he knew, he never actually knew. He's a part of that world, but it doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, he has no place. I think that's why he's so about getting his own world and ruling, because he doesn't feel like he has anywhere to go. He doesn't feel like he has family. He doesn't feel like he has his own world to be a part of. And I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards that, is because they understand. They don't agree with how he does things, but they understand how he feels. And maybe some people can relate to that.
Yeah, I think as an actor in general, too, that just, again, Tom Hiddleston just plays a wonderful performance with Loki. If it was a different actor, I think Loki would have been that one-shot villain. That's it. But he's such a good Loki that people gravitate him because of the story, because of the actor. That's a character I could see a one-shot, a solo movie with. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can actually do the last question and then go back to the second one, because I think the last question not as many people are going to know about, so I'd rather do that one now. Are you excited about seeing Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy? And with the Nova Corps being in the movie, do you think we'll see Nova? Ronan Accuser, I never really cared about. We'll see. And Nova, you never know. Again, if Guardians does well, we could see a Nova movie, but if it doesn't, there will be no Nova movie. But Joe, do you know anything about these characters?
I don't know any of this.
That's why I was going to say let's do this one first. Rob, what do you think?
I've heard of whispers in the winds about them. Not very familiar. Not very familiar with that.
Yeah, I had a feeling because again, this is going into very comic booky stuff. Do you think, and this is the last question, do you think Rick from The Walking Dead would make a good Doctor Strange? I don't know. I think he'd be a better Marvel character than Doctor Strange. I don't see him as that mystical person. So I'm going to go with no on that. But I would love to see him in a Marvel movie.
Captain Britain.
That would be interesting because he is British. So I would like to see that.
And he's a big guy. He's tall, you know.
I would see that. Honestly, Captain Britain all the way. What do you think, Joe?
I think he'd be a good Doctor Doom. I think he'd be
Yes, Doctor Doom. Oh my God, I want to see him with Doctor Doom now. I agree.
He'd be a good Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
He's got the height. He's got the, like, when you see him on the show and he has those moments where he's like season 3 when he was all like just
crazy.
Like the mentality, like I think he can pull that off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a very good suggestion.
Well, now I just want to see him as Doctor Doom. Like, when I have somebody in my head to see, now he needs to be Doctor Doom. Oh my God, I would love to see that.
As for Doctor Strange, and this guy is rumored for every single role ever, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Whoa, yes.
He was a rumor.
Love to see that.
I like that rumor. Again, he's been rumored for everything.
Wasn't he rumored for Ant-Man also?
He's been rumored for everything. But, I mean, this is one rumor that I would like to say.
He needs to be in a superhero movie again.
He does, because, I mean, like, he was in Dark Knight, but that's, like, I don't feel like that counts as him being a superhero at all.
Yeah.
So I would love to see him as in
Detective John Robin.
Honestly, more in a DC movie, because obviously we've seen him in a DC movie already.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marvel would be smart to snatch him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another actor I will see anything with. Love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, so.
But he's
cool. So I think that wraps us up. Thank you guys for all watching this Marvel podcast. I had a lot of fun talking about this, digging deeper into Marvel movies. I think we could go on for ages talking about Marvel. This is just Marvel movies that came out this year. If we talk about other Marvel movies, we'll be here forever. But yeah, so Joe, you want to talk about your channel one more time? Anything you want to talk about?
Sure. Like I said in the beginning, we're a channel that does movies, TV, sports, music. Chris said he's going to be doing Broadway shows now. So we're definitely a show with versatility. So if you're into a wide array of stuff, come to my channel, see if we can all agree to disagree.
How about you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm pretty much movie reviews, TV show reviews, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Falling Skies. Probably going to be doing Leftover for HBO, a new show coming out. And also, I'm probably going to be doing Under the Dome this year as well. And, yeah, Under the Dome is a good show.
Really?
What happened? Oh, you don't like it?
Oh, no.
No?
I'm watching it, but, like...
Now, that would be a fun to agree to disagree video.
Oh, God.
I thought I was watching it on Amazon Prime the other day, and I'm like, oh, this is not so bad. But yeah,
Make a better binge show.
I guess, yeah. And then just a lot of other stuff. I actually have a fantasy battle simulation series that's really going to kick into gear in August because I'm starting the first tournament. So a lot of people on the channel have been waiting for that, and we finally got the lottery draft done. So that's been a lot of fun. And yeah. And right now we're focusing on Jurassic World, Star Wars Episode 7, and Age of Ultron. Now that the Godzilla thing is kind of settled down, so.
Yeah, but still, if you want to see Godzilla stuff, go to Rob's channel.
Yeah, and Rob also does these awesome conspiracy theory videos, which
yes.
I see. Probably, I'm not kidding. I probably see like every one you do.
Yeah, it's fun to do those because I consider them entertaining.
They're a lot of fun.
Oh,
yeah.
they are.
They are a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. I enjoy those very much. So definitely go to Rob's channel and subscribe. These things are only that much effort to do so. If nothing else, then for those conspiracy theories alone, because those are awesome.
So,
check out everyone's channel. Definitely. And if you're coming here from Rob and Agree to Disagree, Joe's channel, I just do comic book reviews, movie reviews. I actually gonna have a Maleficent review probably tomorrow or, probably tonight on Comic Frontline, though, because I have another channel where we have a group of comic book reviewers, so that Maleficent review will actually be on there. And I'll have probably Fault in Our Stars next week for my channel. But yeah, I do a lot of TV, movie, comic books, so I'm a variety of different things too. But obviously, superheroes are my #1 thing, and that's why we wanted to do this Marvel podcast here. Had a lot of fun. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we go?
No, we definitely have to do this again.
Yes.
Not wait 3 or 4 months. So we'll think of something.
Yeah.
We'll definitely think of some topic because these are so much fun. Again, we probably could have went over 2 hours, but it's a 2-hour podcast. I hope you guys did enjoy, and thank you guys for asking questions. That was awesome. Love answering your questions. I think we answered honestly all of them, but if you ask after the show, leave comments after the show too. I'll try to get to them, and I'm sure Rob and Joe will too. So hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic and we will definitely be doing this again. So I'll see you guys later.